incredibly mild temperatures. We are almost at 60 degrees here in Kansas City. Sally's already removed his big, thick winter coat as the sun starts to peek through the clouds here. There's Tony Sperano, 2-7 since taking over for the fired Dennis Allen in late September, and has led this Raiders team to a win in 2 of the last 3 weeks. There is Andy Reid, year 2 here for the 56-year-old head coach. 23 seasons of NFL coaching experience. Oakland won the toss. They defer. Sebastian Janikowski boots it away. This is Niall Davis from deep in his own end zone. Crosses the 20 and gets out to the 21-yard line, and that is where Alex Smith and the Kansas City offense will come on to the field. Smith last week, a season-high 293 yards, had a touchdown, also that costly interception. Sally, they have sacked him 11 times, have opponents, over the last 2 weeks.
And that's why you have the need today for Alex Smith to get the ball out of his hands much quicker and faster. Look for Andy Reid to get his quarterback out of the pocket, get him on the move, and try to change the launch point, all to protect the quarterback and help him to produce plays.
Chiefs beaten by the Cardinals last week, and the Raiders, of course, that victory at home against San Francisco. Travis Kelce, the short reception, and brought down at around the 29. Jeff Linkenbach today makes a surprising start, his first of the season, in for Mike McGlynn, who had started all of their previous 13 games to the 7-year guard. Albert Wilson making a start for his second straight week. No Donnie Avery, came back a little bit too prematurely from that groin injury. The 7-week absence felt like they had to shut him down again, and so Wilson, the rookie out of Georgia State, making the start yet again. 2nd and 3, Smith. Short pass to the rookie, D'Anthony Thomas. Penalty marker down, Thomas still going. Close to the 50. Penalty thrown back at the line of scrimmage. It's a 24-yard pass play. DJ Hayden forced him out of bounds.
Pass interference. Offense, number 12. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 2nd down.
Jerome Boger, our referee. Albert Wilson, the culprit.
It's going to be a screen play. And see the block early? And that's the block right there. That's why they're saying pass interference, because he was blocking while the pass was being thrown. You have to kind of wait for that pass play to materialize before you can block down the field. Penalties have really hurt the Kansas City Chiefs and their offense. Andy Reid talked about it and said, we're producing plays, we're just getting penalties at inopportune times. That's pulling back productive plays.
You know, the Chiefs' offense during this 3-game losing streak has averaged just under 17 points and 280 yards of total offense. Play action. This is Smith. A short pass far side again to Thomas, who was forced out of bounds at around the 24-yard line. Another flag is thrown. It's a 7-yard completion as we wait the call from Boger.
Offense, number 80. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 2nd down.
That's the tight end, Anthony Fasano. Sally, they've run 3 plays, 2 penalties.
Hey, Andy Reid talked about this as being really their kryptonite during that 3-game losing streak, and he talked about it as a play caller, what it does when he's facing, first and very long. He's like, it really puts him behind as a play caller, trying to figure out how to stay ahead of the chains. Talked about the 9 penalties last week. He felt it really hurt them. They felt like they made enough plays to win that game 1 week ago, but the penalties negated the positive production.
2nd and 22 from inside the 9. Just trying to get some positive yardage at this point. This is Charles. Limited practice time all week. Picks up 5 yards on the run. Defensively for the Raiders, Justin Tuck, the 2-time Pro Bowler. Also 2-time first-team All-Pro. 3 sacks to lead that front. Linebackers, Ray Armstrong, who till this point had been primarily a special teams player, today making his first career start. Sion Moore is out with the hip, and we know about Khalil Mack, the 5th overall pick, has been a stud. Terrell Brown, a question mark this week with a foot injury, aggravated it last week and went over the Niners. Up, a long-time 49er in his 8th season. 3rd and 18, Smith pump fakes right, finds the tight end Kelce. The lead receiver on the season, lunges ahead across the 25 and out of bounds at the 26. 13-yard pass play. They're short of the first down. They'll punt. Tackled on the play by Brown.
He fell behind in terms of down and distance, making it very difficult to create a first down. But you're seeing Alex Smith get the ball out of his hands quickly. Andy Reid calling the short passes and trying to get the screens to move the ball down the field.
High snap taken by Dustin Colquitt. First punt of the afternoon. TJ Carey is going to watch this take a Kansas City cheap pass, and a very dangerous decision to go back and field it inside the 10. 61-yard punt. Daniel Sorensen
64-yard punt, no return.
applying the pressure for the Chiefs.
Oh, Carey's got to catch the ball, Spiro. He's just got to feel the punt. Once it hits the ground, it begins to roll closer to his end zone. Kind of panic there, but you have to be able to feel that punt. They would have had excellent field position.
So here is Derek Carr, the 23-year-old rookie, named the starter just days before their opener. And after taking his lumps, playing the best football of his brief NFL career. 1st and 10 from outside the 10. Short pass over the middle. That's the tight end, Michael Rivera, who had a career performance last Sunday in that win over San Francisco. Donald Penn last Sunday caught the 3rd career receiving touchdown pass of his career. Big moment for him. Backs and receivers. Latavius Murray today making his first career start. Started the year as their 3rd string running back, but Darren McFadden, Maurice Jones-Drew, both ineffective this season. So Murray, next man up, getting his big chance today. 2nd and 6. This is Murray, crosses the 20 and brought down close to that first down marker at the 22. Appears as though he will have enough. Vance Walker making a start today for the injured Allen Bailey. Wasn't ready to come back from the concussion, so Bailey is down. Justin Houston, a monstrous season, Pro Bowler each of the last 2 years, tied for the NFL lead with a career-high 16 sacks. And the back end of that secondary really holding it together despite the absence of Eric Berry, 2nd in the NFL in passing defense. Short of the first down, they're 3rd and inches to go. This is Murray, 2nd effort, gets the first down as the Raiders able to move the chains. So Latavius Murray, Sally, who started the year primarily as a special teamer, their 3rd string running back. Limited reps for Murray, very quickly has become their most productive running back.
Well, he's a big-bodied guy who has excellent quickness and speed. A 90-yard run 4 weeks ago in that Week 12 game when the Raiders really put it on the Chiefs. Ended up rushing for 179 yards in that game and dominated in the trenches.
Play action from Carr on 1st and 10. Sacked! Justin Houston getting to him.
Justin Houston.
And you see Houston showing his support of his fallen teammate Eric Berry. Sack number 17 for Houston.
There he is, working on the right side of that offensive line, going up against Khalif Barnes, closing in quickly. You know, Carr's been very good at not taking sacks, but this one, all he can do is hold on to the football as Justin Houston closed in quickly to take down the quarterback.
Second and 12. This is Murray. Up the gut. Little misdirection play. Crosses the 25 and brought down at around the 27. What a season it has been, Sally, for Houston. 2 sacks last week. Now 43 and a half for his career.
Yeah, he and J.J. Watt sort of battling for that lead in terms of sacks. 17 came in with 16. Now 17 here in the early going of today's game.
Third and 6. Carr's pass sails high. Incomplete. Houston coming with the pressure, and the Raiders will punt.
Bob Sutton, the defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, he's going to come after the rookie quarterback. Not going to allow Derek Carr to get comfortable in the pocket. Justin Houston coming off the left side. Right here, look, pressure in his face. And you can see Carr had to throw that one leaning on his back foot. Ball sailed high, incomplete.
Marquette King, the Fort Valley State product, on the punt for the first time. The rookie, DeAnthony Thomas, back deep at around his own 20. Short punt. Thomas will play it off of bounce from around the 26. Thomas bounces outside, crosses the 45, inside Raiders territory, and run out of bounds just short of the 45-yard line after a 28-yard return. Short field for Smith when we come back. Last week to vote for the 2015 Pro Bowl, select the best players regardless of conference, and then Chris Carter and Michael Irvin will draft teams as alumni captains. Vote now, NFL.com/Pro Bowl ballot. Voting ends on Monday night. First and 10 Chiefs. Thomas stepped out of bounds on his side of the 50. This is Jamal Charles pushing the pile inside Raiders territory. Another penalty marker who's thrown on the defensive side of the football. It's a 4-yard run by Charles. And we have seen a flurry of markers already.
During the run, illegal hands to the face. Defense, number 57. 5-yard penalty added to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
That's Ray Armstrong, the 23-year-old Miami product. Acquired off waivers from St. Louis, whistled. So Jamal Charles, a question mark, or probably wasn't a question mark, Sally, for a lot of the Chiefs fans. So durable here with the knee and ankle injuries he aggravated last week.
Well, he is the Chiefs' all-time leading rusher, and as prolific as he has been, only one game where he's had over 100 yards rushing against the Oakland Raiders.
Rushing touchdown in 8 straight weeks. What a run he has been on. Here's first and 10 play to Anthony Thomas, as they have tried to integrate a little bit more into this offense as the year goes on. Another week, and the question in Kansas City, Sally, is this the week where a Kansas City wide receiver is going to catch a touchdown? It has become a major theme here as you take a look at their offensive coordinator, Doug Peterson. By now we know the story. No receiving touchdowns by any of their wide receivers. Incredible.
All season long, and they've gone 16 straight games since a wide receiver has scored a receiving touchdown.
2nd and 4 from inside the 40. Charles again gets close to the 35-yard line. First down marker at around the 34. Since 1940, the longest streak without a touchdown, 20 games. As you go back to the last time it happened, Sally mentioned 16 games. This is the last time it happened. Dwayne Bowe in the snow in D.C. And hard to believe, we've got a clock on it. It's been a long time. 3rd and 2. Charles makes the first guy miss, but the Raiders front keeps coming. They dump him for a loss back at the 39-yard line.
He's tackled by Antonio Smith and Justin Tuck.
Tackle made by Antonio Smith and Justin Tuck for a loss of 3.
Yeah, we're about to enter a new year, and Andy Reid still hadn't gotten the receiver into the end zone. This offense desperately, Spiro, needs to produce more explosive plays, whether it's in the run game or the pass game. As you mentioned, only averaging 16 points a game during this 3-game losing streak.
Colquitt trying to place it inside the 20. He will. TJ Carey signals fair catch at the Raiders 10. Perfectly placed 29-yard punt. And the rookie Carr onto the field when we come back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Amazon's new Fire HD, powerful tablet, endless entertainment. And by Honda, where you can get great deals during Happy Honda Days.
It's short sleeve weather in Kansas City. Temperatures right around 60 degrees at kickoff as we welcome you back to Arrowhead Stadium. 1st and 10 Raiders from just outside their own 10. Murray Keeps those feet churning, gets ahead to the 13-yard line. Raiders had their practice schedule interrupted this week. We know about the driving rainstorms in Northern California this week. They had to move their practice on Thursday to an indoor facility about 10 minutes away from their team headquarters. And that's just something that they had to deal with during the week.
Yeah, different approach with the time zone change as well. Tony Sperano woke his team up every day at 5:30 a.m. just to adjust to the time zone here in Kansas City.
Second and 8. Carr near side finds Rivera. Looking for a nice encore performance after the 109-yard receiving performance last Sunday. And the win that time, they pick up 7.
Now, Ron Parker in coverage. But take a look at this Kansas City Chiefs defense. We already told you they were gashed last time they played the Raiders when the Raiders had 179 yards rushing, average 6 yards per carry. And today, Bob Sutton, defensive coordinator of the Chiefs, made some adjustment. They're coming out with a bare defense. That's a 5 men down on the line of scrimmage, covering up the guard and the center on any run play.
Third and 1, play action from Carr near side. He's got Rivera for the first down. Forced out of bounds at the 25-yard line. 5 yards and a Raiders first down. Most receiving yards by a Raiders tight end in a game since Brandon Myers went for 130 back in 2012.
Well, both he and Marcel Reese, the fullback for the Raiders, did the lion's share of the work catching the ball for Derek Carr in that win last week against the 49ers.
Rivera, the second-year player, former 6th-round pick out of Tennessee. Murray, the lone setback on 1st and 10 from the 25. Looked like some pre-snap movement.
Offense, number 69. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
That's the right tackle, Khalif Barnes.
Barnes has his hands full trying to block Justin Houston, and you can see the move right there. He moved well before anyone else moved. There's Bob Sutton, defensive coordinator for the Chiefs. They rank very high, top 10 just about every category except when it comes to defending the run, where they rank 31st in the National Football League.
The Raiders split out Murray at the bottom of your picture on 1st and 10. Carr throws near side, incomplete. Pressure coming again from Justin Houston. It'll be 2nd and long coming up.
They're coming out again in that bare defense. 5 men on the line of scrimmage. Take a look at it. So you've got 5 guys right there on the line, and they're not going to allow them to run the ball. See how they crowd the center and the guards? They actually have 6 guys on the line of scrimmage on that particular play. They're going to try to contain the football and keep Murray hemmed in, not allow him to gash the defense running the football.
Penalty marker on the field. Another long conference between Boger and his mates. And Sally, this is the part of officiating this season that fans have really been down about. It's not only the number of flags, but the delays in conferences between the officials before they figure it out and make the announcement.
There is no foul for illegal substitution on the play. The 12th player did not go into the huddle, and the formation was not set prior to the ball being ready for snap. So there's no play. It's going to be 2nd down.
Well, if you're Andy Reid, you can't be happy about that one because you felt like you had a stop on that particular play. They'll line it up, play it again.
It'll be 2nd and 15 from the 20. Carr so far 3 for 5, all 3 completions to Rivera. Play action. Throws off his back foot. It's deflected. Nearly picked off. Jay Howard had it right in his hands and dropped it. Massive break for the Raiders.
You know, when we talked to Andy Reid, he said there are a lot of plays we're not making where we have the ball in our hands on defense, and yet we don't come down with it. And Howard has it, but look, You see Murray's able to come back and strip Howard of the ball. Howard had it intercepted, but did not possess the ball long enough to call it an interception. And see, Murray comes right back, gets a hand in there and pry the ball loose, prevents a turnover for the Raiders offense.
Well, that is a play that will not appear in the final stat sheet. What a play by Murray. Third and 15, crossing padded over the middle. It's caught by Andre Holmes. Another marker is thrown.
Before the snap, delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, still third down.
Now, Derek Carr was trying to get Wisniewski to hurry up and snap the ball. It's plenty loud here at Arrowhead. But take a look at the clock. And see, he's trying to get Wisniewski. Hey, come on, give me the ball, give me the ball. Now they're out of time. Wisniewski was still trying to call out the protections to make sure they could protect their quarterback. So they're going to have to find a way to speed it up, use the silent count to get the ball snapped before the clock runs out.
Carr on 3rd and 20, finds Rivera for the 4th time already. Well short of the first down marker, which was out at the 35. They pick up 9, but again, the Raiders forced to punt.
And one way to help your rookie quarterback here with all this crowd noise, one is to go more no huddle. Because you have the full clock to work with instead of going in the huddle and then coming out and getting up to the line of scrimmage. You can begin the process of setting the play much sooner.
Second punt of the opening quarter for Marquette King. And the Anthony Thomas back deep from just outside his own 20. Thomas, the Crenshaw native. LA kid crosses the 25, past the 40. Thomas has some real estate. Down the sideline. 20, 10. Thomas is going to score. Touchdown, Kansas City. 80 yards on the return by Thomas.
We said they needed to create more explosive plays on offense, but if you can get them on special teams from DeAnthony Thomas, you'll take it. Take a look here. Excellent blocking. They set the wall, and then they're going to pick up a block from 95, as well as Hemingway, 88. Just an escort for DeAnthony Thomas to set sail and find the end zone on the punt return.
Electrifying return in the biggest moment in the rookie's brief NFL career, as Tony Sperano helplessly looks on. Thomas, one of the big college football big play threats at Oregon. And for anyone in the NFL who hadn't heard about his name, they just did. Here's Cairo Santos, point after, as Kansas City out to the 7-0 lead. DeAnthony Thomas on the 80-yard run back. Officially an 81-yard punt return for a touchdown by the 4th-round pick, DeAnthony Thomas. Born in the Crenshaw neighborhood of Los Angeles. Marquette King, the Raiders punter, nothing he could do about it, as Kansas City takes a 7-0 lead with under 3 left in this opening quarter. Spiro Ditas, Solomon Wilcox, our producer Vic Frank, Chris Fenson, our director, rest of our CBS crew. 76,000 plus here at Arrowhead Stadium. And Sally, with some of the offensive struggles, that's the kind of play that Andy Reid was looking for.
Oh, absolutely. And they need the defense to make plays when the opportunity presents itself. Could have had an interception when the defense was on the field the last time. So they're beginning to make plays on special teams, but the offense sooner or later has to produce more explosive plays, whether it's running or throwing the football.
Chiefs trying to end a 3-game losing streak. Record at 7-6. And in a must-win scenario over these last 3 weeks to get into the playoffs. Penalty markers come in behind the play. TJ Carey crossing the 25 to the 26-yard line. This our 6th penalty flag between the two teams.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Return team, number 54. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down, timeout.
That's Boche Filomoyatu, just activated this week, penalized.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Game of War. Play free now. and by Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL.
Sellout crowd in Kansas City. 7-0 Chiefs. Late stages of this first quarter. This is Latavius Murray trying to break another long run across the 40 and brought down at around the 43-yard line. It's a 25-yard burst. Hussein Abdullah with the tackle for the Chiefs.
He's going to come right here off the right side. And look, this is the Bear defense. They cover up the center and both guards, but then the ability to cut back underneath Ron Parker, but they're able to get him to the second level. And this is where, for a big running back, he's surprisingly quick and fast getting through the hole.
Sally mentioned the 90-yard touchdown run he had against the Chiefs Week 12 in Oakland. Fourth longest run in franchise history. 1st and 10, pass near side for Reese. Incomplete right at the 50. We go to New York for our first update of the day with James Brown.
An Indy win and they're in, but Andrew Luck's getting started off on the wrong foot here. He gets picked off by Kendrick Lewis. He takes it back 27 yards for the touchdown. That's Andrew's third pick six so far this year. Houston up 7-0.
Spiro and Solomon.
Look at the AFC South. Houston, just a couple of games back in the standings. Darren McFadden onto the field for the first time. His 1st and 10, crosses the 45, lowers his head, gets close to the 50. As the clock continues to run, good run by McFadden as he picks up 8. Sally, it seems as though the staff may have lost a little bit of patience with McFadden and Jones-Drew, giving Murray a chance.
Probably more so of what they've seen from Latavius Murray. Tony Sperano said, with the way we practice now, with the rules of not being able to go every day in pads, we didn't see this from Latavius Murray until we actually put him in ball games.
Critical 3rd and 2 from the 49. Carr flushed out, throws off his back foot, just threw it up for grabs. It's incomplete. Intended for Murray. Pressure coming from Tamba Hali. And the Raiders will punt.
Yeah, this ball is nearly intercepted. Pressure in the face of Carr. And then watch this. Here's our guy, that's Ron Parker. He's everywhere seemingly. We told you he's going to line up at safety. He can play corner. And that ball was intended for Latavius Murray, who was over in the flat, but Ron Parker was sitting and waiting and nearly came away with an interception.
Thomas, the 81-yard punt return for a touchdown just moments ago. Looking for more here. Punt by King. Trying to kick it away from Thomas, who this time signals fair catch. And that one bounds out at around the 13-yard line. 7-0 Chiefs. You're watching the NFL on CBS. 7-0 Kansas City on the strength of that 81-yard punt return by Anthony Thomas. 1st and 10 Chiefs from their own 13. Smith play action. Under pressure. Short pass finds Jason Avant. Crosses the 25, close to the 30, tackled by Charles Woodson, the future Hall of Famer. 14 yards and a Kansas City first down.
Remember, Jason Avant played many years under Andy Reid with the Philadelphia Eagles. Began this season with the Carolina Panthers, had been released, now finds his way back under Andy Reid. So he knows the system, he knows the offense. Maybe he's one of the receivers that can help get this offense going and being more productive throwing the ball on the perimeter.
7 years with Reid in Philadelphia. Started the season with Carolina, released and signed by the Chiefs. 1st and 10, Smith has time over the middle, completes to Dwayne Bowe, crosses the 35 and brought down at around the 37-yard line. Another first down after a pass play of 11. End of the first, Chiefs lead the Raiders 7-0. We'll return to Kansas City after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Always a party at Arrowhead. Lonely Raider fan may have taken a wrong turn, but the silver and black well represented wherever they go around the NFL. Start of the second quarter. Spiro Vita, Solomon Wilcots, our entire CBS crew from Kansas City. 1st and 10. Smith under pressure, penalty marker thrown. It's incomplete. If you've just joined us, 6 total penalties between the teams in the first quarter. Pressure on that play by the rookie Justin Ellis. Jerome Boger is our referee. And another long conference.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Holding, defense, number 56, illegal hand to the face. Offense, number 74. Those fouls are all set. Replay, first down.
Miles Burris of Oakland and Jeff Linkenbach making a surprise start. The guard for the Chiefs penalized on the play. Sally, you mentioned earlier no Kansas City wide receiver scored a touchdown, but even more than that, no vertical threat in their passing game has really caused issues for them.
Yeah, I don't believe you can survive in the National Football League without a passing attack that's going to challenge you down the field. You've got to force the defense to defend every blade of grass, but simply it's not in their DNA in terms of this Kansas City Chiefs offense.
Smith from the gun, fakes the handoff, finds the tight end Kelsey. Inside Raiders territory, tackled by Burris, 16 yards, and a Kansas City first down.
Oh, they run a nice little route where they bring Kelsey comes right here. The outside receiver here will go down the field. But you can see Smith is looking for the crosser all the way. He's not looking down the field for the streaking receiver. It's in his mindset to take what the defense gives him, and first read for him is going to be in the underneath coverage.
Well, the Chiefs' running game has been largely ineffective till this point. Jamal Charles just 6 rushing yards to this point. So Smith being asked to throw the football down the field. 1st and 10, fakes the handoff again. Smith pump fakes, flushed out, going to throw on the run, and nearly picked. DJ Hayden just ran out of real estate. Incomplete. Back to New York in an update with JB.
Tony Gonzalez's old quarterback. Oh, this hurts right here, JB. I'll tell you what, Matt Ryan's going to drop back here. He's going to get picked off by William Gay. He's going to do the rest. He's got some nifty moves while he's on his way to the end zone. But he's going to take it back 52 yards for the touchdown. Pittsburgh is up 13-0 in that second quarter.
Spiro and Sally, Tony kept it professional.
Well, if Tony was here, they'd have to throw it deep, right?
2nd and 10, Charles ducks inside the 45, close to the Oakland 43. A lot of people solidly talking about the Kansas City passing game. Some putting the blame on Alex Smith. Some putting blame on the fact that their wide receivers have not done the job.
Well, I look at the way Alex Smith sort of approaches the game. He is a game manager. He talked about it. He says, look, we're not going to force it trying to get the explosive pass plays. You can see he ranked dead last in terms of overall receptions for a wide receiving group and yards, and then 0 touchdowns. He said it's going to have to happen organically.
3rd and 6. Smith's pass is complete. First down marker right at the 36-yard line. Frankie Hammond, the rookie wide receiver, picks up 7, and they move the chains again.
Oh, you can see the bunch formation again. He's going to take the underneath throw. Again, he's very conservative in terms of his approach in managing ball games. He says, look, I'm not going to force it. I think the thing with Alex Smith is that he's going to protect the football. He's not going to throw a lot of interceptions, where he's thrown maybe fewer interceptions than most starting quarterbacks in the National Football League, save Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay.
1st and 10. Charles bounces off the first tackle, picks up a couple. That was only the 4th catch a moment ago by Frankie Hammond. As you see Charles playing with the ankle and knee injuries that he aggravated last week. But back to the wide receivers, Donnie Avery has been out most of the season. They had to shut down A.J. Jenkins with a shoulder injury. Aside from Dwayne Bowe, a lot of inexperienced, unproven players.
And what does that do defensively when you're playing against this kind of offense? You start to creep up closer to the line of scrimmage. You start to jump all the short routes. And when you throw the ball on the perimeter, these passes can easily be intercepted because the defense knows you're not going to challenge them downfield.
2nd and 6. Smith's going to take a shot. He's got his man wide open, and he missed him. Had Thomas, and that may be one that Smith wants back.
Well, and we talked about it. You got to challenge him down the field. And so Andy Reid draws up the switch route. Thomas is wide open. You've got to connect on this home run. And this is one of the things that we see visually in terms of Alex Smith in his game. So used to going with the underneath throw, not taking the long ball downfield. And you've got to be able to connect when the defense gives you the opportunity to do so.
Oh, we are past New Year's in terms of the last receiving touchdown by a Kansas City wide receiver. After the incompletion, 3rd and 6. Smith from the gun. They protect him well. Now pocket collapses. Smith's going to run it. Ducks inside the 30, close to the 25. Run out of bounds by the former All-Pro Justin Tuck. 4-yard run by Smith. Short of the first down, so the field goal unit onto the field for Andy Reid.
Oh, they just had all the receivers covered, including the tight end, Travis Kelce, working over the middle of the field. You can see Dwayne Bowe working to try to get open, then watch on the inside routes as well with Wilson. DeAnthony Thomas downfield where they have double coverage on him. Every single receiver for the Chiefs locked down in coverage by the Raiders.
And here's the rookie kicker, Cairo Santos. Out of Tulane, already a game-winning kick earlier. This one from 44 yards out. It is no good. So the Chiefs come up empty. Andy Reid frustrated. The score stays at 7-0 Chiefs. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Find the perfect gift for the sports fan on your gift list. Beat the crowds and get free shipping when you shop CBS Sports today. Take advantage of the offer right now. CBSSports.com/holiday. Best field position today for the Raiders. Average field position start their own 14
False start.
so far today.
Offense, number 69. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Second false start penalty against Khalif Barnes. There's the rookie Santos just missing from 44 yards out. First kick he's missed going back to week 2.
Kind of reminds you of last week at the missed opportunities to put points on the board for the Chiefs and that loss to the Arizona Cardinals.
They give Murray a blow. McFadden onto the field on 1st and 15 after the penalty. Marcel Reese, their fullback, split out towards the bottom of your picture. Carr puts him there under it. Incomplete, intended for Rivera. Good coverage on the play by Hussein Abdullah, the 5th-year safety.
Now watch Abdullah. It's just really good coverage on the wheel route. See, gets in the hip pocket, forces the overthrow right in the chest of Rivera. Excellent coverage and good route recognition by Abdullah.
Second and 15. Carr far side finds James Jones for his first reception. Jones forced out of bounds just past the original line of scrimmage by Chris Owens, a pickup of 7. We go to New York and JB.
Luck making amends. Yeah, after that pick six he had earlier, he comes back and hits Hakeem Nicks right here for the 26-yard touchdown. They go ahead and tie it up 7-7 in the second quarter.
Spiro Dedes and Solomon Wilcots.
Indy at 9-4. Atop that division, trying to hold off Houston. 3rd and 8 from the 36. Carr on the run, incomplete. Jamel Fleming on the coverage. Raiders will punt.
Pressure comes in, but Carr is going to be able to roll out to his right. As you can see, Houston splits the defense. Carr rolls out. He does find a receiver, but look at the coverage by Jamel Fleming. Watch as he undercuts this route run by Holmes. Just a really good play in terms of coverage, and Carr's doing everything he can to make a play for this offense.
Busy day for Marquette King. DeAnthony Thomas back deep. Had an 81-yard punt return for a touchdown in the first quarter. Rookie's going to play it from his own 20. Bounces to the outside, crosses the 30, and forced out of bounds at the 31 by Marcel Reese. 45-yard punt, 12 yards on the return on CB.
1st and 10 Kansas City at the Chiefs' 32-yard line.
Inside the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum here in Kansas City. Satchel Paige, one of the iconic players remembered there among others. Niall Davis onto the field trying to find the edge, gets to the 32-yard line, tackled by Ray Armstrong. The last Kansas City drive, Sally, they missed some opportunities down the field.
Yeah, Andy Reid trying to get the ball deep to DeAnthony Thomas, and Alex Smith misfires, and then Santos, he misfire on the field goal attempt, and they net 0 points, much to the delight of Oakland Raiders head coach Tony Sparano.
Chiefs offense looking for its first points. Their only score on a run back by Thomas. Smith under center. Raiders coming with the blitz. 2nd and 9. Chiefs pick it up. Smith ducks ahead. He's going to pick up a couple of yards. A penalty marker is thrown behind the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Offense number 34. 10-yard penalty. Replay. 2nd down.
Boy, it was Ray Armstrong making his first career start for the injured C.O. Moore. Sally coming on the all-out blitz.
And now Davis said hello. And when they had the collision, Davis actually held on just a little too long. It was a great collision, great pickup on blitz protection by now Davis, but you can't grab hold to Ray Armstrong as he was coming through the line of scrimmage.
The Raiders today, with the injuries that they have, only have one healthy backup linebacker, and that's Boje Filomoyatu, playing in only his 6th game this season. Signed to the active roster just this week. Smith airs it out on 2nd and 19. Has his man. It's Albert Wilson for the home run bomb. 47 yards, beating DJ Hayden.
Well, you asked for it, Spiro, and you're going to get it. And here's Wilson right there, streaking down the field. Just a really nice throw. And Alex Smith, he wanted a do-over after missing DeAnthony Thomas on the previous possession. He doesn't miss him here. Really good route by Wilson.
The lack of explosive plays for this Kansas City offense has been their Achilles heel all season. Officially a 48-yard pass play, 1st and 10. Smith trying to thread the needle to Dwayne Bowe. Incomplete. That was their longest pass play, Solomon, of the season.
And it's been a while since they've had a 300-yard passing performance by a quarterback here with the Kansas City Chiefs. And I know Andy Reid would like to put an end to that. Remember all those offenses he had with Donovan McNabb as his quarterback in Philly, where they put up huge numbers. And yeah, I think they're lacking in maybe some of those skilled areas here in Kansas City, but certainly I think they've got enough to be productive throwing the football here.
Smith and Reed saw something they didn't like, so they'll burn their first time out. 7-0 on CBS. Tomorrow on CBS, a special holiday episode of NCIS Los Angeles. So full of surprises, everyone will be talking about it. It's a jolly new NCIS Los Angeles tomorrow at 10/9 Central, only CBS. Chiefs driving first. They'll make it 2nd and 10. Inside the 30, Smith down the side of the field, has Bowe. It's incomplete. Ran out of room on the sideline, coverage by Terrell Brown. And it will be 3rd and 10 coming up.
But I like the fact that they're trying. They're making this defense now cover every blade of grass. They're challenging this secondary for the Raiders by throwing the ball down the field. And Bowe, well, that's going to be close. Looked like he may have even dragged that back foot. They're both on top of it, both officials saying that he was out.
You see Andy Reid looking up at the Jumbotron in the stadium,
trying to figure out if he wants to challenge it or not.
They have used one timeout to this point. Challenge flag has been thrown by Reid, so they will take another look. Did he get that right toe down? And that's what they will look at up in the replay booth. 7-0 Chiefs. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by TD Ameritrade and by Cialis.
Last catch ruled an incompletion for Dwayne Bowe. Let's bring in our officiating expert from New York, Mike Carey. Mike, take us through that play.
Well, it was very clear from one shot that the right foot did not get down. There's air underneath it. So this will be an easy one to confirm as an incomplete.
The rule on the field will stand as an incomplete pass. Kansas City is called its 2nd timeout.
Yes. So my ruling, if I was doing this, would be confirming the ruling on the field. There's a very clear shot that that foot is up off the ground.
All right, Mike, thank you. Our officiating expert here on CBS, Mike Carey. So they will be charged solidly their 2nd timeout, but a gamble that Andy Reid felt like he needed to take.
I think it was. But here's the key. Both officials were in great position, but I like the fact that Andy Reid now is allowing Alex Smith to throw the ball down the field and challenge this Raiders secondary.
Where does Smith go here on 3rd and 10? Again, pre-snap movement on the Kansas City side. That's Kelsey.
Offense, number 87, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
4th penalty against the Chiefs, totaling 34 yards.
Now this is what Andy Reid felt really hindered their ability to win last week, where they had opportunities to score a touchdown. There was a pushing call on the tight end, and you can see where they had been one of the least penalized teams, and then over recent weeks that number has gone up.
Also that controversial fumble on the Kelsey catch that was challenged by Bruce Arians. Overturned. Here's Wilson with a big catch earlier. Ducks inside the 25, ahead of the 23, maybe 22. TJ Carey on the tackle. They pick up a dozen, but short of the 1st down.
And could have had more. I thought that Wilson sort of lost his sense of place on the field, didn't know where that 1st down marker was, because had he just turned upfield, he could have picked up the 1st down. He would have taken a lick, but you have to make a sacrifice sometimes to move the chain.
Santos missed from 44 yards earlier. This time we'll try from 41 officially. Thomas Gafford, the long snapper. Dustin Colquitt to hold. Kick on target, and it is perfect. So this time Kansas City able to salvage 3 points. They build on their lead. Now at 10-0 in Kansas City. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Thursday Night Football returns this week. Rookie quarterback Blake Bortles and Jacksonville taking on the Titans in an AFC South clash on NFL Network. And then the season wraps with a special Saturday edition. Philly in D.C. to take on the Redskins. NFL Network at 4. And then San Diego at San Francisco on CBS and NFL Network coverage beginning at 7:30. Football starts here. Kansas City's drive, 6 plays, 45 yards. Santos, the 41-yard field goal. The big play, Solly, the 48-yard pass. Smith to the rookie Albert Wilson, their longest pass play of the season. Santos boots it away. Not playable for Carey, as Carr and company will take over from the 20, down 10-0. First 4 possessions for the Raiders, all ending in punts by Marquette King.
And Derek Carr off to a slow start, Spiro, going 5 of 12 so far in the game, only 32 yards passing. He's got to begin to pick it up, and they've got to give him a play call sheet that allows him to get the ball out of his hands into the hand of some of his playmakers. But it starts with the offensive line providing protection for the rookie quarterback.
Raiders looking for back-to-back wins for the first time since October of 2012. Haven't won a road game since November of 2013. 1st and 10. This is Murray. Minimal gain, still going. Forward momentum takes him to the 22-yard line. So here's Murray, first career start, the 6th-round pick out of Central Florida. Grew up in a small town about a 10-minute drive outside Syracuse, New York, Medro. Very small town up there, about a 5-minute drive from the Carrier Dome. His graduating class in high school, Sally, 65 kids.
Yeah, but it's his running style that really has caught everyone's attention. He's a big guy that's got that downhill running style. He'll gas it, and he has shown that he can take it the distance for 90-plus yards.
2nd and 8. Murray up the gut. Chiefs weren't fooled. May have picked up a yard on the play as the clock continues to run. At this point, Oakland just 80 yards of total offense.
Give credit to Bob Sutton, defense coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's brought in that bear defense. Remember, that's where you cover the center and both guards. He's not going to allow the Raiders to run the ball inside. And then he's setting both Tamba Hali and Justin Houston out wide so that he can contain the ball and set the edge on defense.
3rd and 7. Chiefs coming in the blitz. Carr hit on the release. Incomplete. And once again, forced to punt.
Carr's pass intended for Kendrell Tompkins.
This pass was intended for Tompkins, but look, the blitz coming off the right side. There he is. He's going to take a hit and go down hard. He was forced to throw the ball before Kendrell Tompkins can turn and set himself to make himself available for Carr to complete the pass.
Oh, it has been a Kansas City defense that has had to deal with one obstacle after another. Derek Johnson, their star linebacker, went down with the Achilles injury on opening day. They lost Mike DeVito, one of their staples up front. And they just keep on coming. The Anthony Thomas dumped down right after receiving the punt. So 0 yards on the return. Tonight, our dangerous mentally ill patients denied care. A 60 minutes investigation. Tonight, only CBS.
37-yard punt, no return.
Also mentioned the absence of Eric Berry. Sally, we know, was, of course, diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma earlier this month. Our thoughts are with him. He's already begun the chemo treatments.
He's such an inspirational player, and certainly we wish him well and pray for his health. But he has been a very vocal leader here with the Kansas City Chiefs, and this team is pulling for him.
Such a resilient group here. Here's Charles on 1st and 10, bounces outside Raiders territory, and finally brought down at the Oakland 45 after a run of 15 yards.
See, when you start to throw the ball down the field, it opens up the entire offense, even for Jamaal Charles. Watch, he's going to come around here and attack the perimeter of the defense. His ability to get to the edge. See how they set the edge, all red jerseys, setting a wall. They create what we call an alley for the runner to get to the second level.
Best run for Charles so far today. You see his numbers. 1st and 10, cuts back again. So elusive, so shifty. Down to the 36-yard line. We talked to Andy Reid, Sally, 9 yards on the run. He said that the unique thing about Charles compared to some of the other players that he's coached, like Brian Westbrook, are his long strides. And that's what sets him apart.
Yeah, the long stride, but yet he still has excellent balance. His ability to cut on a dime and make defenders miss in space. Normally, the long striders tend to get knocked off their feet very easily, but not Jamaal Charles. Shows great balance. He can break tackles, and we know he can take it to the house. He's got a nose for the end zone.
Charles kind of limps off the field. Aggravated both knee and ankle injuries in that loss to Arizona last week. Here's Niall Davis giving him a blow. Davis going nowhere. Khalil Mack, the rookie, 5th overall pick out of Buffalo, who has rated out as one of the top outside 3-4 linebackers, Solomon, against the run.
And you just saw why. That was an incredible play. Davis thought he saw something outside, and Mack was able to separate from the blocker very quickly, and with that hawk tackling style was able to get Niles Davis down to the ground immediately.
Last Raiders rookie linebacker to start all 16 games for Oakland. The man who's their current general manager, Reggie McKenzie, in 1985. Smith on 3rd down, short pass to Charles, who's going backwards. Brought down at the 40, Brandon Ross, their strong safety, leading the charge, and the Chiefs will punt.
This is the way that they move the pocket. They're going to try to slip him out of the backfield as they roll out, and then Ross comes over the top as he sees Jamaal Charles sneaking out in the flex. So they was well defended, but that's just one way that Andy Reid will go about trying to get his playmakers in space to catch the ball. Hopefully they can slip, make a tackle, and still be able to gain some yards.
Colquitt, boy, squared up like he was going to throw. And what a play by the punter. He places it inside the 10. Masterful.
That was fun. That's a heck of a play.
Boy, that's putting some faith in your punter. My goodness.
Look at that.
31 yards on the punt.
He act like he wants to throw it. I think what he did is he bought time for himself. He felt it was going to be blocked. Look, there's the right here. He felt like it was going to be blocked. Went ahead and act like he was going to throw it because both guys were going down to field this punt the entire time.
And then to gather himself and to place it like that inside the 10. What a play by Colquitt.
I don't think punters get enough really credit for their overall athletic ability. I think you just saw it right there by Dustin Colquitt.
I like it. Sticking up for the punters.
I'll go with that.
Give them some love.
I'm friends of punters.
Latavius Murray lines up in the end zone on 1st and 10. Carr backed up over the middle, finds his man Holmes.
Wow.
Quick slant, 9 yards. First reception of the day for Holmes.
Holmes shows toughness. This one nearly intercepted. Sean Smith all over it, but Holmes goes and fights for the football. That was a great break defensively by Sean Smith, but even a better play by Andre Holmes, helping his quarterback, creating a tough catch over the middle of the field.
See what Holmes did last week in the win over the 49ers. Clock continues to run. Raiders have 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning coming up. Murray. First down run ahead close to the 18-yard line. As Oakland desperately trying to get on the board, down 10-0. And keep in mind, they will receive the football to start the second half.
And right now, this Kansas City Chiefs defense, they're daring the Raiders to throw the football. They're coming with that Bear defense. They're stacking the box, trying to stop and shut down Latavius Murray from running the football. You're getting single coverage on the outside. So sooner or later, these receivers are going to have to win.
We saw Marcel Reese being looked at on the Raiders sideline. 1st and 10 from the 18. Play action from Carr. Under pressure. Able to escape. Over the middle. It's incomplete. What a nice job by the rookie. Jameis Olawale, the intended receiver. It'll be 2nd and 10.
And watch it again. It's a play action, but look how many guys are in and around the line of scrimmage. They have 9 defenders in the box. So you can't run it, and now it's play action, and they nearly come away with a sack on Carr. His ability to be elusive, to extend the play, something that Sperano says he's done quite frequently and much more accurately here as of late. The ability to avoid the sack has been a key to his resume.
Carr from the gun on 2nd and 10. Slings it towards the sideline. Incomplete. Tompkins, the intended receiver. Coverage on the play by Fleming, and now it looks like Carr is shaken up.
Yeah, he's been getting hit. You know, he's getting rid of the football, but he's paying the price.
18-yard
And he comes up limping after this play. Tamba Hali coming off the edge. Justin Houston looked like Hali fell on the back of his leg as Carr comes up holding that ankle.
Matt Schaub, their backup, starting to get loose on the Raiders sideline. 3rd and 10 with 2:19 left.
For something, you got to come after him.
Short pass, far side. This is Jones. They're going to lose yardage.
His forward progress had been stopped, even though the ball came out. But Derek Carr is limping. And that's when I think as a coordinator, you've got to be able to sense the moment. They were bringing everyone at Derek Carr. He gets rid of it quickly. He's less than 100% coming up limping. We may see Matt Schaub if Carr can't remain in the game.
Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, we will send you to New York. JB, Tony, Bart Boomer, and Coach Cowher standing by. They'll have all the latest scores and highlights, all the postseason scenarios, plus a preview of Thursday Night Football, the doubleheader on Thursday and Saturday on CBS and NFL Network. All next on the Verizon Halftime Report. 6 offensive possessions for the Raiders, 6 punts. Good one by Marquette King. He'll take a Raiders bounce inside the 35. They'll down it at the 34. Appeared to be the left ankle injury that they are looking at for Carr. It looks as though Solly, he's all right as Alex Smith comes back onto the field up 10-0.
There you still have a timeout, 1:47 remaining in the first half. I think you got to go ahead and try to get the ball down the field, at least try to get into field goal range. Remember, Kansas City, they're in the playoff hunt. This is a critical, important time of year for them, and this is a divisional opponent. You can't rest on the fact you got a 10-point lead. Go ahead and try to get more points on the board before you head in at halftime.
Only 1 timeout left for Kansas City. Had to burn one early and then lost one on the missed challenge by Andy Reid. Smith from the gun. Fakes the pass left, rolls out, just going to throw it to the turf. Penalty markers come in.
This pass incomplete. There's a
Multiple flags. We've had 9 combined penalties between the two teams.
During the pass, holding, defense, number 91, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Justin Tuckson, yeah, you got me. He was trying to hold Jamal Charles. Take a look at the left end as Charles is going out on a pass on a quick screen. See him hold him there to try to prevent Charles from catching the ball. Officials caught him dead to rights.
What a career it's been for Justin Tuck. Started slowly this season, but has come on. 3 sacks for the Raiders this year. 2-time Super Bowl champ with the Giants. 1st and 10 from the 40 after the penalty.
There's a flag on the play.
false start. Offense, number 25. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
That's Charles.
These penalties are just killing Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs. This is what, when we spoke with him on Friday, he felt that it had really hindered the offense in terms of their ability to maintain some consistency. We talked about averaging only 16 points per game during this 3-game losing streak. He thought the penalties and the turnovers were most critical.
We saw Santos, the target line, missed earlier from 44 yards out. 1st and 15, play action from Smith. Slings it over the middle, it's incomplete. Off the hands of Jason Avant. Tightly covered on the play.
You're going to see Avant coming over the middle of the field. Watch the recovery. He's got to catch that one. Sort of got into his pads, into his shoulder pads, and look at that. Not able to haul it in.
It's the rookie T.J. Carey. Brandon Ross also in on the vicinity. As the back end of the Raiders secondary holding tight. Down to a minute 38 to play. Again, just one timeout left for the Chiefs. 2nd and 15. Smith over the seam, finds Bull. Huge chunk of yardage. Still going inside the 30. Runs out of bounds at the 28. Forced out by Hayden. 37 yards and a Kansas City first down.
The protection held up, but you're going to get one of these and then over the middle, and then it's just a really good throw. Over the middle of the field. Watch Bo come over late over the center of the field. He's able to hit him in stride, but the protection held up for Alex Smith.
Smith had the 48-yard strike earlier to Wilson. This one for 37. Longest catch of the year for Bo. 1st and 10 from the 28. Short pass thrown low. Right at the feet of Wilson, who's making a second career start today. Donnie Avery again out. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Kansas City doing a really good job taking advantage these final 2 minutes here in the first half. Alex Smith is looking down the field, but the protection is allowing him to throw the ball down the field. It's holding up. They're able to pick up the blitzes from the Oakland Raiders defense, and he's finding receivers open downfield.
See how long it's been without a receiving touchdown for a wide receiver for the Chiefs. 2nd and 10. Shotgun to Smith. Short pass incomplete. Boy, Charles thinking about the move before he had caught it. Critical drop. It'll be 3rd and 10.
You know, we talked to Andy Reid about maybe even some of the miscues on offense, which led to penalties. He talked about the drop balls and not taking advantage of opportunities. He attributed to what he called mental fatigue during this time of the year. You expect your team, if you're making a run for the playoffs, you got to be sharp in the month of December. But he felt like his team was suffering from some of that, and I think we're seeing it on plays like what you saw there from Jamal Charles.
Sally, the other part of this, they've left a lot of time on the clock. Minute 20 to play. Oakland still has 3 timeouts. Problem is the Raiders' offense has had nothing going. 3rd and 10. Smith flushed out. Chased by Burris. Throws it towards Kelsey. Another penalty flag thrown. Coverage by Ray Armstrong.
Holding. Offense, number 74. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 3rd down.
That's the 2nd penalty against Linkenbach, the 4th-year guard, making his first start of the season.
At the left guard position right there against Mack. Look at it. He's got Mack around the neck. Got to have to let him go sooner or later.
And this one is going to push them behind the target line of their kicker, Santos. That is a huge penalty. With the clock stopped at a minute 13 remaining. Would have been a 46-yard field goal from the previous spot. This is 3rd and 20. Smith, hit as he throws, incomplete. Bo a chance at a sliding catch. Upset with himself, and now decision time for Andy Reid.
But he should not have had the slide. Watch, he comes open. Ball's got to be thrown with more accuracy. See, he's right in there, but you also have to make a play for your quarterback, and that's where this offense is just missing by a little bit. Yeah, the receiver's got to make the catch. Quarterback can make a better throw, but one way or another, you have to find a way to make a play.
So he will not take a chance with his rookie kicker, Santos. Colquitt on to punt. Would have been around a 56, maybe 57-yard field goal. Colquitt trying to place it inside the 5. It's going to take a Raiders bounce with still 59 seconds remaining. And the Raiders having all 3 timeouts in their pocket. Here comes Carr, who appeared to be gimpy on the ankle a moment ago. Sally's going to grit his way through.
Yeah, he's going to have to do it. He's got the 3 timeouts. But, you know, one, the protection has to hold up. But we already said that the receivers are getting one-on-one opportunities because Bob Sutton's defense, they're doing everything to stack the box to try to stop the running back, Latavius Murray. So the wide receivers on the outside. DeAndre Holmes, you got to make a play for your quarterback, and so does the other receivers.
Sebastian Janikowski, one of the great distance kickers in the history of the sport. Waiting patiently on that sideline. 1st and 10. Carr throws far side. It is caught right around the 35-yard line by Vincent Brown for his first reception. Only his 11th of the season for 5 yards. Raiders will take their first timeout. Down 10 in Kansas City. 63-yard field goal, the career long for Sebastian Janikowski, who, by the way, has kicked 4 career game-winning field goals against Kansas City alone. 2nd and 5. 2 timeouts left for the Raiders. 50 seconds left before halftime. Over the middle, this is Jones. Dances across the 30. First down pass play for the Raiders. Clock continues to run. 9 yards through the air.
Got to operate quickly. Looks like they're going to take a timeout here.
Oh, how about Janikowski in that memorable 63-yard kick in Denver, September 12th, 2011. Tied what was then an NFL record with that kick to end the first half. Matt Prater of Detroit holds the current record, a 64-yarder last season against the Titans. Kicking away for Denver.
15 years in the National Football League. Sebastian Janikowski still has one of the most powerful legs you will ever see on a kicker.
And one of the great nicknames, Seabass. He's had some incredible moments in the silver and black. So the Raiders down to their final timeout. In the role of spoiler today, looking for a 3rd win in the last 4 weeks. Short pass. This is Holmes trying to get out of bounds and to the first down marker. The clock will stop. What a play by Holmes. 9 yards. 36 seconds left.
In my mind, he's the playmaker. See, he reads the blitz and he makes himself available immediately for Carr to get rid of the ball. Then he has the presence of mind to get out of bounds. So an excellent play by Andre Holmes, being aware of what the defense was trying to do.
Second catch for Holmes. 36 seconds left. Carr working against the clock on 2nd and 1. Carr under pressure takes a shot. Holmes was covered well. It'll be 3rd and 1. Sean Smith, the 4th-year corner there for Bob Sutton's defense. Sally, what kind of play do you look for here?
I like for him to really try to get Derek Carr on the move, and that way you can get defenders at each level of the defense. Your first read's going to be deep, then the second level, then the check down, but I think it gives you an opportunity to create a first down here and try to sustain the drive.
Chiefs defense pitching a shutout to this point, trying to get off the field here. 3rd and 1 with 31 seconds left. Raiders keep it on the ground. This is Murray. That'll be a first down.
Latavius Murray, the ball carrier.
Now you got to either clock it or take a shot.
By Tamba Hali.
That's why I would have preferred to see him throw the ball on that 3rd and 1 play.
Well, they lose some precious seconds off the clock. They'll burn, or they'll still have that final timeout as they just spike it. So 16 seconds left, 1 timeout remaining.
To me, I know you want more snaps on that 3rd and 1, but I think you got to try to throw it on that play. And if on a rollout, you can get the completion, pick up the first down, and still maybe have a chance to get out of bounds to stop the clock. I think you're going to make that play with more than 16 seconds remaining on the clock.
Second and 10. Carr keeping it on the sides. It's Holmes again. Out of bounds, stops the clock with 11 seconds remaining. 13 yards and another first down for the Raiders.
See, Fleming takes an inside position, and he does have help on the inside from Ron Parker. That's just giving the offense what they want. Holmes trying to make the catch, and he wants to get out of bounds to stop the clock. I think defensively, you got to know they want to throw the ball on the boundary and play it accordingly.
Would be a 59-yard attempt from right here. This is the first time that the Raiders have been inside Chiefs territory today. Rivera with his 5th reception of the afternoon. So 7 seconds left. They have the one timeout. Sally, what kind of chance can you take here?
I think you can take one shot, but you got to take a shot down right inside the end zone. It's got to be really for a touchdown. I don't know that you're going to have a chance to make a play and still try to get out of bounds. Remember, they're out of timeout, so you either take a shot at the end zone or throw the ball on the boundary if it's caught so the receiver can get out of bounds.
Wilkie has to be careful here. 2nd and 4 over the middle. It is incomplete.
And that's probably the best thing, because had he caught it, then the clock would have continued to roll. But the incompletion stops the clock.
So here comes Janikowski, the all-pro kicker, now 36 years of age. First career game-winning kick in his illustrious career, ironically, came against these Kansas City Chiefs back in October of 2000. This one to end the first half from 53 yards out. On target, and it is good. Makes it look easy, doesn't he? Oakland will receive to start the second half, and that'll give something to the Raiders to feel good about as they head to the halftime locker room here at Arrowhead.
Sebastian Janikowski bangs it in. The 15-year veteran pays off the drive from Derek Carr and the offense for the Raiders.
Verizon halftime report is next. Oh, as close to a must-win as you can get for Andy Reid and the Chiefs. Up 7 as we get you ready for the second half. Spiro Dita, Solomon Wilcots back with you from Arrowhead Stadium. That Kansas City defense pitched the shutout right up until the end, but Derek Carr had his best possession to close out that second quarter. What did you see and how did they win the game?
Well, Bob Sutton, the Kansas City Chiefs defensive coordinator, he's really going to force Derek Carr to go outside and throw the football. He's stacking the box, trying to stop Latavius Murray from running the football, which means Carr and his receivers are going to have one-on-one opportunities here in the second half to get back into this ball game. Can they protect the quarterback and still produce in the passing game? It remains to be seen.
Let's take a look at the Bose game changer. DeAnthony Thomas, their electrifying 4th-round pick. The LA kid taking it 81 yards to the house off the punt from Marquette King. And that is how the party started here in Kansas City. Congratulations from his head coach. What a moment for Thomas as we are just about ready for the second half. First half stats, not much offense, sadly, for the Raiders.
6 punts on their first 6 possessions, and then they get it going as they go 80 yards to kick the field goal before heading in at the half.
Well, if you've just joined us, Kansas City is 7-6. They've lost 3 straight, but still in control of their own destiny. If they win out, they are all but assured a postseason berth, but they have to take care of their longtime division rivals, who, by the way, Sally, this is incredible. Despite all the Raiders' miscues the last couple of years, have won 6 of their last 7 trips here in Kansas City.
They've been very good coming here at Arrowhead. A very difficult place to win ball games for visiting teams. Something the Raiders have figured out in 6 of their last 7 visits.
Raiders have not won a road game since November of 2013. Longest road losing streak active in the NFL at 9 games. 1st and 10. Carr's pass sails high, incomplete over the outstretched arm of Tompkins, and Carr, the rookie, Solly, under pressure that entire first half.
And that's what we talked about. Can they protect the quarterback? Because if they can, they'll make plays on the perimeter. But Tom Bahali, Justin Houston, Dontari Poe. They continue to hit, hurry, and harass, and even hurt Derek Carr as he came up limping in the first half, but hung in there to drive his team down for a field goal before halftime.
Raiders started the year 0-10, worst start in 52 years for their franchise, but they've won 2 of their last 3, including that Week 12 win over the Chiefs back in Week 12 in Oakland. That ended a 16-game losing streak. Then, of course, got just destroyed in St. Louis, Week 13, 52-0, and then responded with the win last week. Our QB comparison in the first half.
Yeah, well, both guys have really done a good job of protecting the football. Got to give Alex Smith a lot of credit for now starting to take some shots throwing the ball down the field. I think he can be a little more accurate when trying to get it down the field, but at least he's making the attempt.
3rd and 6. Carr's pass deflected, nearly picked through the hands as Tompkins was the intended receiver. Owens, the man who got a hand on it, and then Smith nearly caught the deflection.
Tompkins never made an attempt to go for the ball. I'm not so sure he found it, but he's got to be able to go for the ball and reward his quarterback, Derek Carr. Carr is trusting him to make a play on the ball and come down with it when you throw into the teeth of the defense, as we saw on that play.
Thomas back deep just outside his own 30. And Marquette King, who has had a busy afternoon, on the punt for the 7th time. Thomas marks it for a moment. Dangerous looking play. You can hear the gasp in the stadium here as Thomas is dumped immediately by Chimdi Chekwa. 48-yard punt. And Thomas nearly with a monstrous mistake.
Yeah, I mean, just before he recovered the ball, because it bounced off the shoulder pad and it sort of hung there just before he's hit by Chimdi Chekwa. Thomas is able to haul it in.
So here comes Alex Smith on the field. Smith in this offense looking for points in what has been a struggle, to say the least, during their 3-game losing streak, averaging under 17 points during that stretch. Charles, the lone set back on 1st and 10. Smith, nowhere to throw, is going to tuck it away, gets ahead to the 30. Tackle credited to the rookie Khalil Mack. Sally, what did you see from Smith in the first half?
Well, I saw him attempting to get the ball down the field. I saw him misfire on what should have been a long pass to DeAnthony Thomas going down the field. Remember, he misfired on that one, still connected with Albert Wilson on a 48-yard connection, but at least we're seeing them throw the ball down the football field, something we haven't seen all season long, at least on a continuous basis from Alex Smith.
See the balance between their offensive play calling today. This is 2nd and 7. Smith play action, throws across his body, and then a fumble on the play by Kelsey. Recovered by C.J. Wilson. Barreling down to the 15-yard line. Alex Smith on the tackle, and the Raiders fans in the house rejoice. 20 yards on the return by Wilson.
Remember, it was last week that Kelsey fumbled. It was a controversial play. Some thought it was, some thought it wasn't. On this one, there is no doubt. As the Raiders come up with it, C.J. Wilson pops right in his hands. There's the hit right there on Kelsey. Brandon Ross provided the hit. C.J. Wilson provided the recovery. Disastrous start here in the second half for Kansas City.
First turnover by either team today. Rare red zone opportunity for the Raiders. 1st and 10 from outside the 15. Carr has time, and then they get to him. Set. Jay Howard, Vance Walker, 2nd time they've gotten to Carr today.
He tried to climb the pocket, and you look, they got pressure, and they're just going to collapse it. He tries to climb the pocket. You can see Magua, number 90, he's sitting there, but look, they're able to just completely collapse, corral Carr inside that pocket. He had nowhere to go.
Oakland with a red zone touchdown percentage of better than 77%. That leads the NFL. The problem has been so few opportunities inside the 20. 2nd and 14. This is Murray. Inches just past the original line of scrimmage, down to the 14-yard line. Murray making his first career start today. He's got 57 yards on the ground on 11 rushes. And that injured Raider is C.J. Wilson, the man who just made the return on the fumble recovery. Signed as an unrestricted free agent in the offseason. Get you an update on him as quickly as we can. 3rd and 10 from the 15. Carr under duress again, throws across his body, airs it out to the end zone. It's incomplete. My goodness. It looked as though Jones was about to make a shoelace-type catch. Incomplete. There is a flag behind the line of scrimmage.
Offense, number 72. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
That's Donald Penn. Sally, this is not an easy catch to make, but what a play by Carr to get it to him.
Yeah, he's going to roll out here, and you're going to see this is Jones coming clear from the other side, and it appeared to be just an easy throw. But see right here, look, he's open, drifts away from him. Got to be able to close in on it, find a way to make that play, but potential touchdown opportunity there for the Raiders.
Janikowski hit the long one right before halftime. This one from 33 yards out. And it is good. So 2 field goals for the Raiders. They're only scoring today as they inch a little bit closer here in Kansas City. Carr, the near touchdown pass to Jones on CBS. Sebastian Janikowski, a couple of field goals, the only scoring that the Raiders have to show for their efforts today. But they cut the deficit to 4. Frankie Hammond from a couple of yards deep in his own end zone at the sideline. He's still going to the 30-yard line and forced out of bounds there by the Raiders. Oh, the fumble by Kelsey, recovered by Oakland, and they capitalize with 3.
Don't forget the 2014-2015 Chiefs.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. The all-new Volkswagen Golf family, 2015 Motor Trend Car of the Year. And by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
The American Jazz Museum in the historic 18th and Vine District here in Kansas City, actually in the same building that houses the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, one of the many sites in this great American city. 1st and 10, Jamal Charles out past the 34, gets ahead to the 35-yard line as Kansas City's offense solidly trying to regroup after the fumble by Kelsey. And suddenly their lead down to 4.
Yeah, last week against Arizona, he had 7 catches, 110 yards. It was his first 100-yard receiving game of his career, but yet a critical fumble that derailed an opportunity to put points on the board as they were marching down the football field. Then it happens again this week.
That was a controversial play. Arians the challenge. It was up and overturned. That pass incomplete, and it'll be 3rd down coming up. Kelsey has been their best receiver, has led them with just under 700 yards, a candidate for comeback player of the year after the microfracture surgery. But they need him desperately, Sally, to get going because of the lack of production with the wide receivers.
Yeah, and he's now gone 5 straight games without a touchdown. They designed plays for him. In fact, the first play of the game was a design bubble screen to the tight end, Travis Kelsey. He's an excellent athlete, capable of creating big plays, and now he's got to do a better job of protecting the football.
Kelsey in motion on 3rd and 5. Smith completes. That's Bo. Beautiful over-the-shoulder catch, 20 yards, and a Kansas City 1st down.
He's matched up against T.J. Carey. This was just a beautiful route run by Dwayne Bowe. It's excellent. His ability to run that, what we call a 7 route. To the corner. Ball dropped in nicely by Alex Smith as he take advantage of T.J. Carey in coverage.
Dwayne Bowe today surpassing 7,000 receiving yards for his career. Only 2 Chiefs have eclipsed that number. Tony Gonzalez, the great Chief, and Otis Taylor. What an accomplishment for Bowe in his 7th NFL season. Charles on the run for 2, tackled by Ross.
Gain of 2 yards on
Kansas
the
City
play.
Chiefs offense looking good. You talk about Otis Taylor, made so many plays here for the one-time Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. They're looking for that kind of play now at the wide receiver position on a consistent basis. Someone who can get the ball into the end zone.
2nd and 8. Smith to give to Charles. Dances inside the 40. So tough to bring down. There is a marker thrown.
Flag on the play.
They will spot the football at around the 37. It's a run of 5.
Illegal hands to the face. Offense, number 80. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 2nd down.
Anthony Fasano, the culprit. We go to New York in another update with JB.
Key play on a touchdown drive.
Joe Flacco's going to take this play action and throw it down the field up in the air to Owen Daniels, tight end. Makes a great catch right there. Owen Daniels would score the next play for the touchdown. Baltimore is up 17-12.
Spiro and Solomon.
2nd down and 18.
Jacksonville giving them all they can handle, but what a wild ride it has been in that AFC North. And a race that appears to be going down right to the final minute of the regular season. 2nd and 18 after the penalty. Smith will work from the gun. Fakes to Charles. Raiders coming. Short pass. This is Thomas. Taken on at the 47-yard line. 5 yards through the air. Tackled by T.J. Carey. Another penalty.
Foul. Roughing the passer. Defense. Number 91, blow to the neck area of the quarterback. 15-yard penalty, automatic, 1st down.
This is going to be called on the veteran Justin Tuck right there. Forearm to the throat and chin area of Alex Smith. You know, Tuck has been a real good leader for this football team. Remember in that last game against Kansas City, he calls the timeout just as players were celebrating prematurely, really aided that team, showed great leadership, and sure he wishes he had that one back right there, because that's not the kind of example you want to set.
That is a back-breaking penalty for the Raiders defense. You see the 14 total penalties between the two teams. Niall Davis on the field, 1st and 10. Play action, Smith slings it near side, he finds Wilson. Brought down at around the 22, maybe 21. DJ Hayden on the tackle.
And that penalty on Justin Tuck has given this offense for the Chiefs new life as they get the ball into Wilson. And now the Chiefs appear to be marching and moving in for points.
1st and 10, Chiefs at the 22-yard line.
Alex Smith's numbers today, if you've just joined us, over 200 yards. Last Sunday in the loss to the Cardinals, threw for a season-high 293 yards. Had a touchdown and a pick. Some movement pre-snap. Antonio Smith coming across the line.
Offside, defense, number 94, 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
This has become a penalty fest. Both coaches are amazed by their team's inability to show some discipline and restraint.
C.J. Wilson, we're told, has knee and ankle injuries. His return unknown at this point. And the critical recovered fumble and return to 20 yards to set up the last Janikowski field goal. Niall Davis, the lone setback on 1st and 5. The Anthony Thomas split out. Thomas from the backfield. Thomas around the edge inside the 10 and run out of bounds. We'll see where they spot it. Just inside that 10-yard line. Thomas, Sally, starting to become more of a factor in Andy Reid's offense.
Yeah, it's the ability to seal the edge. And watch, they're able to get to number 52, Khalil Mack. See how they set the edge there? Kelsey, Lincoln Bach, even blocking from Dwayne Bowe on the perimeter. Good-looking play.
See how long it's been since the last receiving touchdown by a Chiefs wide receiver. 1st and goal. What a collision. Charles taking on defenders just inside the 10. 5 tough, hard-fought yards from Charles.
Brandy and Ross come up laying a lick. Charles comes off. Ross is still in the game. He knows he came up. I don't want to say who laid the lick because that was just a collision. We say the first guy blinked loses. I don't think either guy blinked on that play.
And look at Charles. He is slight, but a guy who is able to take on such punishment and keeps coming back for more. Second down, goal to go. Davis into the end zone for the Kansas City touchdown.
This is so well blocked to the right side of this offensive line. Look at this. They block down on top. They were able to just get the runner Davis to the next level. He does it from there. Look, Sherman kicks out right there, and then Charles Woodson cannot keep Davis out of the end zone.
6th rushing touchdown of the season for Davis, who has formed quite the formidable backfield here behind Jamaal Charles. 3 yards on the burst, and Kansas City 70-play drive to extend to an 11-point lead. NFL fans, order your holiday gifts from NFLshop.com today and save 20%. Also get free shipping over $50 at the official store of the NFL. 70 yards on the 9-play drive, 17-6. First rushing touchdown for the Chiefs since that Week 11 victory here against Seattle. 17-6 with under 7 minutes to play in this third quarter. TJ Carey crosses the 20, taking on tacklers ahead to the 24-yard line. Can Carr get into the end zone on CBS?
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Straight Talk Wireless. The world needs more straight talk. And by McDonald's, official sponsor of the NFL. I'm loving it.
Derek Carr, the Raiders offense, back onto the field. Down 11, 1st and 10. Carr fumbles the snap. Kansas City recovers. Frank Sambo falling on the football. Massive mistake for the Raiders.
Confusion between quarterback and center. Carr's got to hang in there and get the football. And Frank Zambo has never been given a greater gift than this. The ball laying on the turf right in front of him. Spiro, I think you would recover that.
I'm not sure even about that.
No, you know, and if you're Carr, you got to get with Steven Wisniewski, and they've got to get it figured out. That's a gift for the Kansas City Chiefs.
3rd lost fumble of the season. Jamaal Charles being looked at a moment ago on that Kansas City sideline after that hard collision between he and Brandon Ross. Just dusts himself off, met at the line of scrimmage. Here was the scene just a couple of minutes ago during that last commercial break. The independent doctors now that are on every NFL sideline going through that concussion protocol.
Yeah, and you can see the team trainer, Rick Burkholter, he's over in the left in the red. He's given way to the independent party who's given that concussion protocol test to Jamaal Charles. I think it's a wonderful system for how to determine whether or not a player is ready to come back into the game.
Short field for the Chiefs, 2nd and 9 from the 20. Play action from Smith, slant over the middle. This is Kelsey inside the 5, into the end zone for the touchdown. And Kansas City busting it open. 20-yard strike on the catch and run. Smith to Kelsey.
Travis Kelsey had gone 5 straight games since he scored his last touchdown. But on this slant, watch him protect the ball, Spiro, at contact. Couldn't both hands over it. Did stick it out a little prematurely as he crossed the goal line. Ray Armstrong jumps on his back to go for a ride. Got to protect that ball well after crossing the goal line.
5th receiving touchdown for Kelsey, who says he's like a kid in a candy store every time he sees the football field after that long rehab following the microfracture surgery. 20-yard touchdown catch. Smith to Kelsey, and it's all Chiefs. After the Carr fumble, quick striking drive led by Alex Smith, and Kelsey putting the exclamation point on it. 20-yard receiving touchdown, his 5th of the season.
He's a big body player. Remember, he's a former college quarterback, one of the best athletes on this football team. And with that big body, you've got to be able to run him across the middle of the field for an easy completion. And you saw him just rumble 20 yards to do the work to get into the end zone.
Boy, how quickly this game has turned. Just 5 minutes ago, it was a 10-6 game. Oakland was down only 4. The Chiefs with 14 straight quick points. TJ Carey out past the 15, ahead to the 18-yard line. Sally, take us back to the touchdown.
Yeah, Kelsey's going to be lined up at the bottom of the screen, and he's just going to run what we call a quick slant. And there's going to be a great window for Alex Smith to get that ball in. They were able to split the defense. Now watch the passing lane. There's no white jerseys, and then he just closes in on that goal line. Poor tackling by the Raiders on the back end. But you can see they really are forcing them to defend every blade of grass, and that's why they're now able to take advantage of that secondary.
So can Carr get his game going? 0 of 3 in the half, including that lost fumble. Here's McFadden, limited opportunities today. Only his 2nd attempt. A ground game that has been just average till this point. It'll be 2nd and 5.
Well, we already said coming in that Kansas City Chiefs defense, particularly in terms of stopping the run, had been struggling. Gave up 179 rushing yards to the Raiders in that Week 12 loss. Today, Bob Sutton's group done a much better job by way of alignment in this Bear defense. As you can see, they cover up the center and both guards, not allowing the Raiders to run the ball inside.
2nd and 5. Carr completes. This is Holmes. Brought down by Fleming at around the 29-yard line. Appears to be enough. It is 6 yards and a Raiders first down.
And I talked about that defensive alignment by Bob Sutton's defense. What they're basically doing is saying, hey, Derek Carr, you can't beat us. We're going to pressure you. We're going to push the pocket in your face, and we trust that our corners can defend one-on-one against your receivers.
That motion is Reese. Joins McFadden in the backfield on 1st and 10. Carr throws far side, nearly intercepted. Ron Parker very close to what would have been an acrobatic pick for the Chiefs.
I love the way this defense is set up today for Kansas City. They're forcing the ball to the perimeter. These are the most difficult passes to complete because the ball stay in the air longer, and you can see them closing in on it. Nearly came away with the interception. When you can force the quarterback to have to make a living throwing the ball outside the numbers, Spiro, you stand an excellent chance defensively of making plays yourself.
Second and 10. Quick drop back. Carr completes. That's Bryce Butler for the first time today. 18th reception of the season. 7 yards through the air to set up a 3rd and short.
And still, you see Carr's got to go way out on the perimeter just to get the completion. Got to give Butler a lot of credit. He wanted to get some yards after that catch. Came in giving the offense a little bit of energy. Now let's see what they do on this 3rd and 3 play. If you get that Bear front where they're stacking the box, no way you can run it in there. You're going to have to throw it.
Chiefs are coming. 3rd and 3. Carr down the field, not even close. Has been unable to locate Tompkins today, still without a reception. Good coverage by Chris Owens, and once again the Chiefs defense getting off the field.
Well, this Chiefs defense, you know, they haven't allowed a 300-yard passer all season long. Emmett Thomas coaches the secondary here. He's a Hall of Fame player himself. He had played here with the Chiefs, does an excellent job of preparing this secondary, and they're taking away the long ball from Derek Carr.
Sally, we get to see a lot of stats during the week as we prep for these games. That is an incredible accomplishment. No 300-yard passes against this defense, as Sally just mentioned, all season. Marquette King the punt. Here's Thomas had the 81-yard run back for a touchdown earlier. Here from the 25, gets to the edge, runs out of bounds just past the 30. And that is where Alex Smith comes onto the field. Week 15 continues later today on Fox. Some good ones around the NFL. And tonight, Sunday Night Football on NBC. Tomorrow, Saints, Bears. And what has been a nightmare season for Mark Trestman in Chicago.
Not much better for the New Orleans Saints either.
No, it has not.
They used to dominate at home, and now that place has become a house of horror for themselves. So they can get a win on the road, but they've really struggled to be able to win inside the Superdome.
I just can't believe we're almost through week 15. It has flown by this season. 24-6. Kansas City with a comfortable lead. Here's Knile Davis, had the short touchdown run earlier in the quarter, and they have dominated Sally since halftime.
Well, they found a way to make some plays, getting the run game going in for a touchdown there with Knile Davis, and then the gift handed over from Carr and the Raiders on the turnover, and then Alex Smith turns that into points. 20-yard catch and run by the tight end Travis Kelce. 14 points scored in the third quarter, most this season.
Bunch formation with 3 wides, top of your screen. Shotgun from Smith on 2nd and 9. Tucks it away. Unable to break that initial tackle. Clock continues to run. Smith last season broke a franchise record here for most rush yards by a quarterback. Hasn't been quite as effective with his legs this season. And he'll face a 3rd down and long here.
You know, he plays a conservative style. We talked about it. Take a look at Peterson calling the offense. You know, I think he's a perfect quarterback. He's not going to turn it over, and uncharacteristically has thrown an interception in each of their last 2 games. Both games they lost. He knows, Alex Smith, if he protects the football, their chances of winning go sky high.
Smith over the middle, has Davis, catch and run! Davis to the 30! No one's going to catch him! Touchdown, Kansas City, 70 yards.
He said he wanted to create more explosive plays in the offense, did Alex Smith. He said, but I want to do it organically by working within the system. This one was right in the system. He read the defense, knew he had Knile Davis matched up in man-to-man coverage against the linebacker Miles Burris, and he takes it. Coming up, look, right here. Now watch number 56. He cuts underneath, and he just pulls the trigger on that one. Davis is open from day one. Burris could not stay with him. It's just a good read by the quarterback, Alex Smith, working within the system to create a big pass play.
Charlie, if he keeps throwing touchdowns like that, they won't care if it's to a wide receiver, to a running back, to a tight end. First receiving touchdown in the career of Knile Davis.
Now Davis gets open by cutting underneath, and from there the protection is there. Smith, he's not going to miss on that one. And sometimes, you know, you don't have to throw the ball down the field to create a big pass play. The quick hitters can be equally effective, but you've got to make someone miss to turn the catch and run into a long game.
And what a moment for that young fan.
Wow.
As Davis giving him a souvenir that he will cherish for the rest of his life.
That's what it's all about right there. Alex Smith is loving it. Give that ball away every single time when you make plays like that.
And Knile Davis, Sally, who would be a starter for a lot of teams around the NFL, is still overshadowed here by the great Jamal Charles. But what a tandem they have formed here, as that kid's still on cloud 9.
What an atmosphere to watch a game. As we were coming into the parking lot today, we were excited, weren't we?
Just feels like a big game here. 76,000. Some of the best tailgating in the NFL. And the party has started here with this one getting blown out and blown open. 21 points, as you see, in the last 4 minutes and change. Now, the last time the Chiefs have had a 300-yard passer, you'd have to go back to September 16, 2012 in Buffalo. Matt Castle.
Wow. Tom Brady's former backup. He was shredding, slicing, and dicing against those Buffalo Bills on that day. That's a long time to to not have a 300-yard pass.
Not there yet. He's at 294. That is a season high. It matches his number at 293 from last week. The Chiefs have gone 43 straight games without a 300-yard passer. The next longest active streak is 15 by Miami.
Hey, big go right! Big go right!
Raiders have been knocked out in the quarter, and the miscues just keep on coming through the hands of the tight end Rivera. Back to New York and an update with James Brown.
Falcons fighting back.
Here they come right here. Here's Matt Ryan. He's going to hit the old man. That's my friend, Roddy White. Gets the touchdown right there from 4 yards out. Pittsburgh up 27-20, but here come the Falcons.
Spiro, they called Tony old at 37. That's not old. Back to Spiro and Solly.
Steelers are in the midst of that very brutal divisional race in the AFC North, trying to keep pace in Atlanta. 2nd and 10, Carr. Intended receiver Rivera. Late penalty flag comes in from the secondary, and this one appears to be against the Raiders.
Pass interference. Offense. Number 81. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 2nd down.
It's on Rivera, the intended receiver. As we take another look, Rivera working against Parker in that Chiefs secondary.
And nothing really egregious there. That ball was uncatchable. But nonetheless.
9th Raiders penalty. See the quarterback comparison. Carr just has not been able to get anything going down the field. 2nd and 20. Flag thrown. Carr. Little acrobatic shovel pass ahead to Murray, who gets to the 20. Marker thrown back behind the 10. It's an 11-yard pass play. Again, our referee is Jerome Boger, and he has been busy.
Outside. Defense, number 91. 5-yard penalty. Replay, 2nd down.
That's the 4-time Pro Bowler Tamba Hali penalized for the first time.
He fell into that neutral zone just prior to the snap of the ball. And so these Raiders are going to have to find a way to be more resilient. What did their head coach Tony Sparano tell us? He thought his team really fought hard last week in an improbable win against the San Francisco 49ers. And now today they're taking one on the chin. Right after their Week 12 win over the Chiefs, they took one big time, a haymaker from the Rams, who blew them out 52-0. So 1 week they get a win, they don't tend to bounce back well and play well the following week.
Raiders declining the penalty after the 11-yard pass play. 3rd and 9 from just inside the 21. Carr under pressure, wrapped up. Somehow gets it out. This is Murray. To the 25, still going ahead to the 27, maybe the 28. Needed to get to the 30. Justin Houston finally getting him around the ankles. Actually had the pressure. Did Houston as they will punt.
Derek Carr is just fighting tooth and nail, just doing everything he can to stay alive and make completions. Right now, protection's breaking down. Receivers aren't getting open. He can get rid of the ball a little sooner as well.
See Marquette King, most punts in the NFL this season. As a frustrating day for the Raiders continues. Nearly blocked. Anthony Thomas going to play it from the 35. Thomas, what a day he has had, making guys miss. Shifting his way ahead to the 48-yard line for Kansas City. 38-yard punt and a 13-yard return. Miami losing at the moment. Houston also playing from behind at 7-6. That is good news, Solly, for the Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chiefs are going to need some help. I mean, let's face it. Look at those other teams with 7 or more wins, making the wild card not impossible, but improbable. So they're going to just have to keep winning and hope that teams like Miami, Houston, and Baltimore fail.
Well, if Kansas City wins out, keep in mind their final 2 games against Pittsburgh and San Diego, the 2 teams directly in front of them. So if the Chiefs win out, they're all but assured a postseason berth. Short pass play on 1st and 10. This is the fullback Anthony Sherman. And that'll take us to the end of the 3rd quarter. A quarter owned by Andy Reid and the Chiefs as they turn a small lead into a 31-6 advantage. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Most prolific scoring quarter by Kansas City this season, 21-3 in the 3rd quarter. And this game has been turned upside down, 31-6, as we get ready for the 4th.
We said this offense needed to create more explosive plays. In the passing game, we said they needed to score points, something they struggled to do during that 3-game losing streak, and they get it done in the 3rd quarter, erupting for 21 points in that period.
Spiro Dedes, Solomon Wilcox, our entire CBS crew from Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. 2nd and 9, Smith's going to run it. Appears to have enough for a Chiefs 1st down, and now will not be as favorable a spot as it appeared to be. And he'll be inches short. Well, most consecutive games without a 300-yard passer. Kansas City, just incredible, Solly. The difference, this is active streaks in the NFL.
That's a long time. I mean, that's a long time.
79 has reported
You
as
think of the fact they played so well last year, and at no
Elgin.
point during the 2013 season did Alex Smith get 300 yards passing. He's close to getting it done today.
3rd and 1, Fasano in motion. On the ground, this is Davis. Needed to get to the 42, and he didn't get there. Officials showing 4th down. Tackled on the play by Ray Armstrong, former Miami Hurricane, making his first career NFL start.
How about Davis, though? He's come in for Jamal Charles and done a really good job. He's got himself a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown, one of 70 yards on the catch and run, but he's found the end zone twice in the 3rd quarter.
Here's Colquitt. Carey signals fair catch. And the Raiders once again pinned deep inside their own territory. 31-6 on CBS. 31-6. All Kansas City. Early stages, 4th quarter from Arrowhead Stadium here in Kansas City. Chiefs outscored the Raiders 21-3 in the 3rd quarter. And Oakland still dazed after that knockout punch. See Oakland's offense, 12 possessions today, just 2 field goals, have a turnover. 9 times they've had to punt. First time we've seen Maurice Jones-Drew onto the field on 1st and 10. Jones-Drew, the former rushing king back in 2011, crosses the 10, brought down after a run of 7. Tomorrow on CBS, these geniuses don't fit in the world, but they're the only ones who can save it. New episode of Scorpion tomorrow at 9, 8 Central, only CBS. Rivera in motion on 2nd and 3. Carr set again. Tamba Hali getting there for the Chiefs.
This offensive line, Spiro, has struggled all day. Coming from your left side, look at Jackson, Donald Penn trying to keep Tamba Hali off the quarterback Derek Carr, but it's been a problem. We said it at halftime. If they can't protect them, it's going to be difficult for them to get back into this game, let alone try to come away with a win here at Arrowhead.
Sack number 6 for Hali, 3rd time that they've gotten to Carr today. 3rd and 8. Carr's pass incomplete. Off the hands of Jones. Those two tried to connect on an ill-fated touchdown strike earlier in the game. That would not have counted, by the way, after a penalty was called on that play, and their 10th punt. Sally coming up here.
And, you know, Jones is a veteran receiver, but appears to be struggling today to hold on to the football.
Jones has been their leading receiver. End of the day with just under 600 yards receiving. On pace for a career high in terms of receptions. Marquette King from his own end zone. Short punt, very short. And it will take a Kansas City bounce to boot. Just a 31-yard punt by King. Alex Smith looking for more when we come back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Walmart, where you'll find unbeatable prices on this year's top gifts. Verizon XLTE on America's largest, most reliable 4G LTE network. And by Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly.
Thank you.
Well, if you're looking for some barbecue, you've come to the right place. First and 10, this is Niall Davis. Cuts back inside the 40. And down to the 36. I'm told our guys, Justin Haley and Jay Gutierrez, two of our guys in our great crew here, ate about 5 pounds of ribs yesterday, Sally, between them.
That's doing some damage.
Holding, offense, number 80, 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
It's Anthony Fasano, the man penalized. A lot of flags in this game if you've just joined us. 17 between the two teams.
First and 20 from the 50-yard line.
Alex Smith and the Chiefs trying to end the 3-game losing streak. Appears to have this team headed for its 8th win of the season. That would get them to 8-6. And put them in a prime position to defeat Pittsburgh and San Diego over the final 2 weeks. And that would all but assure them a postseason berth. Short strike. That's Fasano. Just inside Raiders territory, brought down by the future Hall of Famer Charles Woodson. And Sally, what a season it's been for Woodson, who has had to endure a lot of losses this year. We had a chance to visit with him early in the year. He talked about how difficult it's been, but he is the oldest defender in the NFL and still playing at an all-pro level.
Yeah, I was thinking about him last night as I was watching the Heisman presentation, and you know, just what an honor it's been to watch him play. 59 career interceptions. He's been a defensive MVP. He's won a Super Bowl. He's done everything you could do at every level of playing the game.
2nd and 18. Smith slings it, incomplete. Kelsey had his head turned around in what appeared to be a miscommunication. It'll be 3rd and 18. As the future Hall of Famer has put together an incredible resume.
Look at that, 11 interceptions returned for a touchdown. He can sack the quarterback. He can get interceptions. And, you know, the tackling is one of the most underrated portions of the game. He's willing to get the jersey dirty. He will show up on every area of the stat sheet. Oldest defensive player in the National Football League, but he'll still stick his face in there to get runners on the ground.
And this is not a case where a vet is just kind of quietly walking off into the sunset. He has been their best defensive player, has led them in tackles this season. Smith on 3rd and 18. Pressure coming from the back. Benson Mayowa, excuse me. Smith, by the way, still not quite at 300 yards passing.
Maybe we should go down and tell him. I think it might make a difference.
Dustin Colquitt on the punt. TJ Carey signaling fair catch from his own 10-yard line. 10:42 to play, 31-6. You're watching the NFL on CBS. 31-6, Kansas City in front. Long day for Derek Carr in this offense. 1st and 10, throws far side. Leaping catch. What a play by Vincent Brown. 2nd reception for him today. Former San Diego State product, 11 yards and a first down.
Yeah, even with good coverage from Marcus Cooper. Look at this catch. Nice leap. Still able to come down with it. 2 feet in bounds. Maintaining possession.
Not much to speak of with this offense today. Just 6 points, couple of Sebastian Janikowski field goals, and only 9 first downs till this point.
More penalties than points.
First and 10. Carr pump fakes, airs it out near side. Had his man Holmes, but he overthrew him. It'll be second and 10. Sally, why have they struggled to this degree today? What have you seen from the offense?
Well, one, they haven't gotten the run game going, because I think if you can get the run game going, it's going to open up opportunities to throw the football. And when you can't run it and you can't protect your quarterback, as they failed to do 3 sacks on Derek Carr throughout the day, it's really made it very difficult. So give a lot of credit to Bob Sutton and the Kansas City Chiefs defense. Guys like Justin Houston, who you see shaking up right now, they've done a really good job of keeping the run game hemmed in for the Raiders. And then everything else has taken flight from there defensively.
Looks like perhaps another one of the independent doctors on the sideline coming out. We saw Jamal Charles being looked at earlier after a hard collision. And now Justin Houston, who's been a Pro Bowler each of the last 2 years, had a sack earlier, his 3rd in 2 weeks.
He's
having leads the NFL.
Yeah, he's having himself an all-pro season right now.
There's Charles on the sideline, 52 yards on the ground. As the Chiefs in cruise control in this 4th quarter. Second and 10 from the 21. Darren McFadden. What's up? In the I formation set. Carr's pass high again, caught. This is Butler. Tackle just short of the 35-yard line. Jamel Fleming, first down pass play, 13 yards from Carr.
Now, his Butler's out here competing. Watch this route against Jamel Fleming. Look at him break it off, come back to the ball, and just stab that ball to be able to keep it in the field of play, making the catch in front of number 30, Fleming.
Well, they have had to deal with this ferocious defense coached by Bob Sutton. That was pitching a shutout through most of the first half. First and 10. That pass from Carr broken up by Fleming, who made the start today for Phillip Gaines, who was a late scratch.
Like to see Carr throw this ball over the top. See, once Butler gets on the back shoulder, now you got to throw it over the top as opposed to underneath. That's why Fleming nearly intercepted it. So Fleming did do a good job defensively, but I thought Carr could have done a better job in terms of ball placement based on how the receiver had gained outside leverage.
McFadden alone set back on second and 10. Quick strike. That pass off the hands of the intended receiver and falls incomplete. Once again, Jones and Carr, Sally, unable to hook up.
Well, Jones, he didn't bring his hands with him today. That one goes right between both hands. You've now seen, what is that, 3 drops on the day?
Unofficially, by our count. Carr now 18 for 41 for only 135 yards. Hasn't had much help. Third and 10. Carr feeling the pressure. Deep down the sideline. Incomplete. Holmes, the intended receiver. There is a penalty marker thrown right around the 50 in the Kansas City secondary.
It's going to go against the defense. That's why Carr took a shot. He had his receiver, but it appeared to be overthrown. It wasn't.
Before the pass, illegal contact, defense, number 31, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's Marcus Cooper, who made a name for himself last year with some of the injuries that they had in the back end of their defense. Penalized.
Take a look at the top of the screen against Andre Holmes. And see right there, see he grabbed and hold, and that's why the ball appeared to be so overthrown, because Marcus Cooper was holding on to Andre Holmes.
We got 90.
So rare conversion with the penalty help. 1st and 10. Carr slings it over the middle and another drop pass. That time it's Holmes.
Wow. You know, we talk about it. I think Carr is playing as well as any rookie quarterback. In fact, I think he's playing the best of any of the rookie quarterbacks. Look at this throw. Now, that's arm talent that we talk about. But sooner or later, as a quarterback, you need players around you to make plays. The ball clearly should have been hauled in by Andre Holmes.
2nd and 10 from the 39. This is Murray. Chiefs weren't fooled. Tackled by Houston, who went off the field a moment ago. Sally, you look at Derek Carr, everything he's had to endure. An 0-10 start, midseason change to the head coach, and really little to no support from the run game up until the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, this run game had been historically low until we saw Latavius Murray had the breakout game against the Chiefs week 12, but yet he continues to fight, scratch, and claw. And I thought last week's performance against the 49ers was not only his best of the season, but I thought it was phenomenal for any quarterback, let alone a rookie.
5th highest passer rating by a Raiders quarterback ever. 3rd and 8. Nice comebacker to Jones. Back shoulder throw, and finally those two connect. Jones with his 4th reception, 24 yards and a 1st down.
Oh, he makes a nice adjustment. Watch him come back door to get this ball from Fleming and then make the catch. He's crowded. As you can see, Parker coming over, helping to secure the tackle on Jones. But you've got to be able to make a catch while you're hand fighting with the defensive back. Is not going to always be clean.
Jones going past 600 yards receiving on the season. Sets up a 1st and 10. Carr is going to take a shot to the end zone. Looking for Holmes. Blanketed there by Fleming, who has played very nice defense today in relief of the absent Phillip Gaines.
Yeah, Fleming's look, play top down. Don't allow him to get behind you. See, top down defense, it works in the National Football League. If you don't let them get behind you, you're going to win 90% of the time.
Sadly, they've been picking on Fleming, trying to take a shot on him. But boy, he's held steady till this point. 2nd and 10. Chiefs coming, quick drop by Carr to Rivera. Brought down at the 31-yard line. They pick up 5 yards.
There were 3 other quarterbacks taken in the 2014 draft before Derek Carr. Blake Bortles, Johnny Manziel, Teddy Bridgewater, who you and I saw 1 week ago in Minnesota, who I think is going to be a really good one. Johnny Manziel was struggling in the early going of the Bengals game, had thrown 2 interceptions early in that contest, but I think Carr has put together maybe the best season of any of those rookies.
11th play of the drive, 3rd and 5, has to throw off his back foot. Rivera appeared to be open, but it falls incomplete. Carr, the 18th different starting quarterback, Solly, that they've had since 2003. It has been a seemingly eternal search for a franchise quarterback.
I think they found their guy. He protects himself because he doesn't take a lot of sacks. He gets rid of the football. Now that means he's going to throw a high number of incompletions, but that's better than your young quarterback taking a beating during his rookie campaign. I think he assures himself that he'll be able to start each and every week.
4 down territory on 4th and 5. The ruling is a catch, but appears to be short, as Oakland needed to get to the 27. Butler with the catch, and a turnover on downs. Appears to be an injured Chief player. That's Josh Maga, who has been just a huge part of this Kansas City defense. Stay with us.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Intel. This is where it all changes. And by Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever.
Appears as though Josh Maga is okay, able to walk off on his own power. Such an integral part of Bob Sutton's defense, stepping into that role vacated by the injured Derek Johnson, who was lost for the season on opening day with the Achilles. A loss, Sally, that was supposed to be so devastating to this defense, but Maga has had the best season of his career. Good to see him walk off on his own power. 1st and 10. Nile Davis on in relief of Charles ahead to the 31-yard line. Clock continues to run. 6:35 remaining as Kansas City nearing its 8th win of the season.
Well, Kansas City and Andy Reid is giving this team an opportunity to get into the postseason. Still work left to be done. I think the run defense, we saw it improve today. I think if you're talking about their chances for getting into the playoffs and how they might do if they do get there, I think that's one of the areas of the football team that had to drastically improve.
Keep it on the ground. This is Davis again. If you're scoring at home, Alex Smith at 297 yards passing as they look for their first 300-yard passer in 44 games.
Timeout, Oakland.
As the Raiders will burn
This is a 30-second.
a timeout. I told you about the Chiefs' remaining schedule. They'll be in Pittsburgh next week. Steelers started the day at 8-5. And then they'll close here in the regular season finale against San Diego. Both of those teams were in front of them. Pittsburgh today a winner. So that gets them to 9-5 and puts even more importance on that game next week.
Oh, that Pittsburgh Steelers offense, it's a juggernaut. With Ben Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, big three, they can put up some points. And so this Kansas City Chiefs defense better be ready for that group.
Miami down big at this point, playing against New England. But Kansas City, hard to believe, just a couple of weeks ago was sitting at 7-3, 5 straight wins after that home win against Seattle. And suddenly it's 7-6, fighting for their postseason life. Sally, as competitive a season we've had in the AFC in a long time.
Oh, absolutely, and still not done.
Play clock down to 1. 3rd and 6. Over the middle. Smith's pass behind his intended receiver. That was West. First time we've seen him today. And Smith still under 300 yards passing.
You can see he's frustrated. He really wanted that one.
So competitive. He's been so efficient. Sally, everyone talks about what he can't do. He has put together some fine seasons over the last couple of years.
He can win.
Penalty marker comes in behind the play. This is Carey on a bounce at the 25-yard line.
There's a flag on the play.
This will be the 19th combined penalty in this game. And it looks like Carey is hurt. 46-yard punt. And we wait the call from Boger. This has been a recurring theme today.
During the kick, illegal block in the back. Receiving team, number 36. 10-yard penalty. Oakland keeps the ball. First down.
Well, next week, the Thursday night football season wraps with a special Saturday edition. All the fun starts with Philly traveling to D.C. on NFL Network at 4, and then San Diego in San Francisco on CBS and NFL Network. Coverage starting at 7:30 Eastern Time. 31-6, 5:37 to play, fourth quarter. Raiders will fall to 2-12. And will lose a 10th straight road game. 1st and 10, Carr, incomplete. Jones trying to come across the middle. That pass thrown a little bit behind him. Coverage by Abdullah. Special thanks to our crew, our producer Vic Frank, Chris Fenson, our director, rest of our crew, Andy Friedman, George Bouchard, Justin Haley, Kid J. Theano, our statsman Paul Evans, spotter Rich Gaynor, and Jake Gutierrez in the truck. 2nd and 10 from the 12-yard line. The shuffle pass by Carr. It's Maurice Jones-Drew. Actually, beg your pardon, it looks like it's Rivera, the tight end. Rivera started well. Sally had the 4 early receptions, but the defense has blanketed him ever since.
15-yard line.
Well, coming in, this Kansas City Chiefs defense, as we said at the beginning of the game, they had given up 100 yards rushing in 6 consecutive games. We talked about the deficiencies of the run defense, but boy, have they fixed it here today.
Third down has been a major issue for them today, and that continues. 4th sack by Kansas City's defense. D4, the 23rd overall pick, getting there for the Chiefs.
If he can emerge as a pass rusher here with the Chiefs to go along with what they already have, well, they will become even more fierce. Take a look at it. Frank Zombo, 51, 55, D4 coming in off the top.
Anthony Thomas.
And for the kid who they are grooming to eventually be a replacement for either Houston or Halil, but Kansas City hoping that isn't for quite some time. 11th punt from King today. Here's Thomas looking for more. Thomas, a little speedster, getting close to the 30. Chimdi Chekwa, the tackle. What a day it's been for the rookie DeAnthony Thomas. And now Chase Daniel will come on in relief of Alex Smith. So Smith's final stat line, 18 of 30, 297, a couple of touchdowns. And that elusive 300-yard game
Quarterback for the Chiefs, number 10.
will continue.
Probably why he was so upset. He knew that was going to be his last opportunity to get the connection. And you know, he's going to be happy to come away with a win.
Niall Davis with Jamal Charles's afternoon over. Reminder to keep it here. The Subway postgame show is coming up. JB, Tony, Bart Boomer, and Coach Cowher standing by in our New York studios. They'll have the latest scores and highlights on the Subway postgame show coming up here on CBS. So Alex Smith will get Kansas City to 8-6. And Derek Carr is talking it over with his veteran teammate Matt Shaw. Here's Daniel. The handoff to Davis inside the 30. And that clock continues to run. Sally's still a couple of games for the Raiders to play, but there's some huge decisions that their ownership and management have to make, who their head coach will be next year. And reports swirling around the general manager as well, Reggie McKenzie.
Yeah, and you know, hey, you got to do everything you can to get the organization moving in the right direction. 1 week ago, they were coming in off a high, a win after beating the San Francisco 49ers, and now to come out and lose a game like this within the division, it throws everything back into an unbalanced situation.
Third down pass from Daniel is deflected, intended for Thomas. One thing that we have to say about Sperano, very unique for an interim head coach to come in mid-season after a change and win over a group of players as strongly and as quickly as he did. I mean, you talk to these Raiders, they are gushing about how much they've loved playing for Sperano.
And if you're the ownership, you're going to look at the Week 12 win over Kansas City when the team was winless, and then the next week followed it up by getting blown out by the St. Louis Rams 52-0. Come back and you beat San Francisco, and then today 31-6. That imbalance and inconsistency is something that the team will take a look at.
There's the rookie Santos from 47 yards out. Missed a 44-yard attempt in the first half. This one is no good. Santos, who has been so consistent, had not missed the kick since week 2. He's missed 2 in this game.
Clean snap placement by the holder. Pulls it to the left.
Santos, the game winner in a game in San Diego, middle of the season. But luckily for him, the Chiefs comfortably in front, 31-6.
at section 131.
Still have the 2-minute warning, 2:19 to play. As Carr comes back onto the field. Carr today, if you've just joined us, 22 for 49, $168. And has been under pressure right from the start. Here's James Jones, crosses the 40. Nearly went for a piggyback ride to Mel Fleming on the tackle, and that should take us to the 2-minute warning. Now Sperano and the Raiders going to fall to 2-12, 31-6. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Next Sunday, the NFL playoff push comes to shove. First, Alex Smith of these Chiefs will take on Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers in a big one. And then Andrew Luck and the Colts will meet Tony Romo and the Cowboys in Dallas. All the fun starts with JB, Tony, Bart, Coach, and Boomer on the NFL Today. Chiefs will go home, I'm sure, get in front of the TV, watch the end of that San Diego-Denver game as James Jones with the first down reception inside Kansas City territory. And the countdown will begin, Sally, to the big one between Kansas City and the Steelers in Pittsburgh next week.
Yeah, that will be a well of a football game. Remember, Todd Haley, the offense coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers, once the head coach here in Kansas City.
It's Jones again. Second straight reception. That Haley connection will add just another layer of intrigue for a game with all kinds of postseason implications. Raiders have burned their second timeout. Pittsburgh a winner today. Baltimore now in that other wild card position. And San Diego's, I told you, in progress right now against Denver.
How about that? The Bills, an impressive win today over the Green Bay Packers to improve to 8-6. Packers, everyone sort of ready to anoint them in the NFC, despite the way I think Seattle has improved greatly since their loss here at Arrowhead.
So many teams still feel like they have a shot. The NFL postseason just around the corner. Told you about Kansas City's road, the final 2 weeks in Pittsburgh next week. And then the regular season finale here against Phillip Rivers and the Chargers 2 weeks from today. If they win out, all but assured of a postseason berth. Carr nowhere to throw it, just threw it to the turf, and that will draw the penalty flag from Jerome Boger.
They're going to say there was no intended receiver nearby.
There's no intentional ground on the play. Number 21 was at the feet where the pass was thrown. Third down.
How about Derek Carr sort of pleading, doing his own lawyering, so to speak, explaining to Jerome Boger what was going on? They pick up the flag.
Alex Smith looks befuddled
Alex
as he
Smith
looks
says,
up at the replay.
Alex Smith said, I've never been able to do that.
So they pick up the flag. It'll be 3rd and 8. Minute 15 remaining. And the remaining fans trying to raise the decibel level. 3rd and 8. Carr throws deep down the far side. Andre Holmes. No signal yet, and it is a reception.
Tie goes to the offense, right?
Catch by Andre Holmes, 34 yards.
Matched up
for a first down.
Yeah, take a look. He'll go up. Wow. No, he caught that one over Marcus Cooper.
Carr, they surprised him with a snap, and a penalty marker comes in. This one will be against Marcus Cooper, who was just beaten by Holmes. It didn't look like the defense, Sally, was ready for the
Pass
snap.
interference. Defense, number 31. The ball be placed at the 1-yard line. First down.
It's just blood in the water. They're throwing at Cooper on every single down. Did he push him? Did Holmes do a little nice acting job there? Not sure.
Enough contact to get the attention of the official. So first down, goal to go. 20 combined penalties between these two teams. 46 seconds to play. Raiders do have a timeout. Maurice Jones-Drew the lone setback. Jones-Drew takes a hit. Second effort gets him to about the 2, tackled by Joe Mayers.
Looked like 55 Ford came knifing in initially. And Jones-Drew was able to maintain his balance.
Tony Sperano burns his final timeout. One thing about Kansas City's defense, Sal, you mentioned how they've struggled against the run. They've only allowed 2 rushing touchdowns all season, fewest in the NFL. And both of them came against the Raiders in Week 12.
Yeah, Latavius Murray. He's got the only 2 rushing touchdowns all season against this Kansas City Chiefs defense. So we talked about they've struggled in terms of allowing 136 rushing yards per game coming into today, but they still haven't allowed you to run it into the end zone.
Maurice Jones-Drew lines up in the backfield alongside Carr on 2nd and goal. Carr from the gun, throwing end zone, incomplete. Hard collision between Rivera and Sorensen. Penalty marker comes in. Clock stopped at 37 seconds. Jerome Boger is going to talk it over.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Illegal hands to the face. Defense, number 52. That penalty decline. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, hit on a defenseless player. Defense, number 49. Half of this to the goal, automatic first down.
So Sorensen's penalty is the one that counts. That was the hit on Rivera. It was called a defenseless player.
Right here. There you go at the back of the end zone. And rightly so.
It's the part of the defense that the NFL has tried to clean up this season with good success. So 1st and goal from the 1. Jones-Drew, the lone setback. Carr, quick drop, near side, caught. For the Oakland touchdown, it's James Jones into the end zone. 5th receiving touchdown for Jones.
Jones does a good job of holding on to it. Ball was out quick. As you can see, right in the flat in front of number 20, Chris Owens. Just enough time to haul it in.
Jones, who spent 7 years in Green Bay alongside Aaron Rodgers, member of that 2010 Super Bowl champion. Actually led the NFL in receiving touchdowns in 2012 with 14. Point after by Janikowski, and it's 31-13 with 34 seconds remaining. Updated look at the postseason picture. Buffalo, surprising win over those aforementioned Packers today. Gets them to 8-6, and they will be tied at the moment, Sally, with the Chiefs.
Pittsburgh came away with a win down in Atlanta. They are now 9-5. That AFC North, look at it. Right now, if we're to end today, they get 3 teams into the postseason.
If you've just joined us, Kansas City has never trailed in this game. Raiders cut the deficit to 10-6 early in the 3rd, and from that point, it has been all Chiefs. Scored 21 straight points in a 5-minute stretch in the 3rd quarter. And their 3-game losing streak will come to an end. Looks like Alex Smith still wants an explanation on the last penalty that they picked up. What appeared to be intentional grounding against Derek Carr. Looks like they're lining up here for an onside kick. Janikowski is going to take a shot, and easily played by Dwayne Bowe, who's going to get out of bounds.
Dwayne Bowe on the return.
Both today, 3 catches, 69 yards, going over 7,000 for his career. Looks like someone may have gotten another souvenir. There's Chase Daniel. A lot of the youngsters are going to leave here with
First and 10, Kansas
smiling
City,
faces.
49-yard line.
And that will do it. Daniel takes a knee. The Kansas City Chiefs ending the losing streak, push their record to 8-6 and still control their own destiny as they look ahead to the final 2 games of the season in Pittsburgh next Sunday, and then the regular season finale here against Phillip Rivers and the San Diego Chargers. 31-13 the final. Back to wrap it up. You're watching the NFL on CBS.